Anyway,
Well, I got a question for y'all. Hold on.
go ahead, Kevin.
They actually make you. Yeah, they actually make you do whole dishes. But my mom would just do her own shit. I would do my own shit. My sister would do
She be
hers. Somebody
working.
I
else
mean,
does
I mean,
my shit.
sure, but we trade turns. Like when the sink is just whether it's filled or not, whether if there's stuff in there.
Yeah, but the sink
Um,
should not end up like that.
I mean,
I just
sometimes there's days where like there's dinner or like there's something, and we don't wash the bowl right away. We just put it in the sink. But the
Really?
that's
bottom
some
line
goon
is,
shit, man.
I don't. I mean, sometimes you're on a rush, man. Like, what if you're
Kevin,
eating right before you gotta leave the house? Like,
Deuce is busy, bro. Like,
No.
It would take
Kevin,
literally
Kevin,
like 2 minutes to
Kevin,
wash a dish.
if I'm
I
trying to
think
rush and eat,
I think
Kevin, what if I'm trying to rush and eat breakfast and I gotta leave the house like
At
immediately?
any
I
point,
think one
in
person should watch all the dishes.
hell
Their
no.
their job.
Why's your
That's how we
job?
do it.
That's retarded.
No,
That's
I'm
very
saying
retarded.
if they're washing
it's not
dishes
retarded.
in the sink, you wash all of them. You don't just do your own.
Oh, well,
Like that
that's
way
what we
you
Nigga, that's
do.
what I
Like
do.
yeah,
we
that's what I'm
that
saying.
wait, time out, wait. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying is like we have
No, I
turns. Like if
understand.
it's my turn, I gotta do all the dishes
Yeah,
in the sink and then call it a day, and then it's Mohammed.
yeah,
And
that's what
Listen,
I'm
I've
saying.
been busy.
I'm
I've
he
been
agreeing.
hasn't done
busy.
it. He hasn't done
All
his
right,
turn
you're
in
evil.
weeks, and my mom just does it for
You're deriding me, but like the past like three or four
him.
You're
three
deriding
or
me.
four days, I've been out up until like 10 o'clock. Well,
I
I
didn't
know
ask
this
about
whole
you.
time. Yeah, but then why are you bringing this up randomly
I'm saying because it's the
when you're
week.
on the
Calm
bus?
down. The weekend's coming up. I was just asking you when you're gonna get it done, man. Because
You must be really bored.
He said,
listen,
"Why are
listen,
you
man.
deriding me?"
Listen, man. I miss my spoons, man. You know.
All right, then wash them.
He'll take a wash him.
Damn, I'm not the spoon. I'm not. Like what? Wash them.
He said, "I miss my spoons." This nigga can wash his spoons. The thing is,
that,
even if
What
that,
do you
listen,
mean
that,
I
that, that
miss?
was a,
even if
that last one
even
was
if
a
you're gonna make
semi-troll comment,
Young do the
but
dishes and you
still.
need to use food, just grab a bunch of food, wash the bitches, and then put
Word.
them
Listen,
in the
look, look,
fucking
look,
dryer.
look,
Like,
look.
make it harder out for
That
you.
last comment, I was trolling, but seriously, get those dishes done, man.
Don't act like
He's
there
never
wasn't
even.
that one day that. Didn't you come home? What day did you come home at like 6?
I don't know. There hasn't been any day this week that I came home at 6.
Opposed to that.
Did you
I don't even have any classes that cut off before 6, so that's not really
Hey
possible.
man, I've been busy.
did you
I've been busy.
I have.
did you
Grinding
like this
for
like
this.
that chapter like the other day though? You bringing up like
What do you say?
I said, did you like that chapter though? The chapter that came out?
Oh boy, you definitely went live and started just subtly trying to.
Are we live?
You're not slick. No, listen. You know what's funny? You know what's funny? I
Wait,
didn't
what
even
the?
look. I heard his question and I knew what was going on.
Bro, get out of here.
Did he go live?
He's a fucking coon.
Yo, I see y'all in the
Yeah,
in a
I'm
half
boycotting
hour.
this. I'm boycotting this. I'm not even ending my conversation. That's
You're
what I'm doing.
already boycotting.
No, I'm not
First
even
of
ending my
all,
conversation. I'm not
Alright,
talking about no chapter.
whoever has
alright.
that
Talk about
background noise,
dishes.
you need to mute yourself, man, because it's way too much
Cat
You
Nelly,
noise.
can't just be doing that.
what do you think
Mute
about
yourself.
dishes? Cat Nelly?
Mute yourself.
So fine. What was
So
Another
the
reason why mute yourself.
you or Pat Nelly?
Might be evil.
I don't have a
what's
problem with
going
Pat
on?
Nelly, but whatever noise that is, or whoever that is, it's annoying.
I mean, what's happening?
Just a noise.
Let's talk about some noise.
It's probably not me. Yeah, Wes. I don't like you trying to casually just you know.
Casually what?
Listen, man.
You
Ladies and
can't be
gentlemen,
doing that.
The One Piece chapter was a very fun, very entertaining, well structured, solid chapter. Y'all have a nice night. All right, cut it off, Wesley. Come on.
Wow.
You don't have to have a review
What
every
did you?
week, my guy.
Sometimes you do. What did you think about it,
Public service announcement to everybody, to the people watching, to the eventual 8 people that will watch this video. Go on go on Amazon.com, type
Shut
in
up.
X-Men Omnibus, and go purchase the first 2 omnibuses of X-Men, written by Chris Claremont.
oh
It'll be the best
Listen,
$120 you have ever spent in your entire life. I guarantee it. But if you're
since
broke, then you can read a weaker version of that experience on readcomiconline.me.
Oh my god.
Just type in the series, and the fun never stops.
Nobody cares what this nigga
Okay,
said. Now, understand me.
Alhamdulillah.
Join my movement to stop Mexican bitches from crossing into this country.
Oh my god.
Kevin?
Yeah, he is Mexican girls.
He said what? He said what?
He likes Hispanic
This
girls.
man is a good.
They have trash bodies.
What did Kevin say?
To stop
We need
Mexican
to
girls from
stop
coming.
women with trash marks from entering the United States, Wesley.
I think he said Mexicans.
Stop
I thought he said Mexican
women.
too. Yeah. Oh, they have
I didn't say
trash bodies.
Mexicans. Stop Mexican women from encroaching into the United States. That is.
Fun fact: only 1 in 14 Mexicans are attractive.
Who got wrecked?
Ooh. Miguel left.
Yo.
Hilarious.
Mexicans.
One less than Mexican.
Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Summers is the greatest human being in fiction, and
Maybe the most relatable.
This is technically spoiler, but it's no longer canon and it's not in the main series. So I just want your thoughts on this, Wesley. This is absolutely sick. This is one of the most savage thing I've ever heard.
What?
It's not spoiler. It's not spoiler. It's not spoiler. It's not in the main comic. It's in a side series. It's just a story that they'd had the audacity to do. And I'm like, yo,
I like when he was paired with Psylocke.
Hey man, the new young member, man. You got a young Asian girl coming into your team, man. You gotta do what you gotta do, man. Listen. This is a side story. This is a side story. Listen. This is a side story they actually decided to do, and Claremont thought this was absolutely retarded and garbage. In a side comic called X-Force, they planned to resurrect Jean Grey, right? And not only do that, have Cyclops come out of retirement, right? And Cyclops, who was already... Oh, this dude Wesley's talking to Lacey. Good night.
All right, go ahead. Cyclops what?
All right, so listen, this is what they did in a side comic. I heard about this, and I immediately started dying. Claremont thought this was retarded. They did it in a side comic called X-Force. So, in the late 80s in the side comic, they had Cyclops come out of retirement. They had Jean Grey resurrected. And then they did a storyline where Cyclops, a man who's already married with 3 children with another woman, he finds out Jean's alive and immediately abandons his family and his house, and he starts running off doing stuff with Jean, and then starts piping Jean again. And I'm like, how? What?
They were doing some wild stuff in Texas.
This man ditched his wife because Jean is back. And he was like, yo, I'll be right back.
Of course, nigga.
That's ridiculous. But hey man, how's everybody's night been?
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah. He wrote that story and said Scott Summers is an absolutely garbage human being. Yeah.
It's not like people don't do it in real life.
Listen, man, the man has 2 children, bro, and he's like, yo, I'll be right back.
I've seen it happen.
This man said himself, I have no interest in being a superhero anymore. But the minute G came back to life, he's like, yo, what's up? Like, hey, let's ride.
He was so concerned.
Yeah. It reminds me of when like Wesley back in the day used to like get into series just because certain girls were reading or watching them.
No, that was more of an edit.
It sounds like something that Wesley would do.
No. That was more of an Edo. That was more of an Edo.
Get out of here.
I don't watch all those Disney Channel teen girl shows.
I can't believe it. This nigga Leo Russ got fired.
Yo,
wait, what?
Kevin, he got smoked.
He got fired?
He got wrecked.
WWE's a bunch of punks, bro. His tweet wasn't even that bad. Come on now.
Yo, he got smoked, bro.
Let's not act like the tweet wasn't funny.
Yo, to be honest with you, I think it's not. But to be honest with you, I think it's a Daniel Bryan 2011 firing, and he'll be back. I think he'll be back in like a few months.
Nah, if I was him, I wouldn't come back. Damn,
Wesley, I refuse to allow you to successfully transition this into a chapter.
Punks. He did one thing and there.
Oh, it's over now.
It's over.
Oh no, Storm is here.
You said what?
What did I miss? I'm already crying.
We've been waiting for you.
Thank you.
Yo, Bookie.
Stop
Do you like
babbling.
Boogie? Do you like do you enjoy heartfelt, emotional, team-oriented stories, Bookie?
Yes.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Okay,
Oh my god.
Yeah, Boogie, I'm
listen, listen, listen to me. We don't like Mexican people, okay?
Yo, shut up, bro. Yo, what is wrong with you?
Yo, Kevin.
Kevin, chill, bro. Kevin, listen. Kevin, I'm out here trying to spread a message of positivity, and you're out here.
Kevin,
You're out here spreading hate, bro.
We're purging the world of all the evil. I don't like Mexican
Kevin,
girls.
I thought you liked
Salvadoran
life,
girls. That has nothing to do with anything.
okay.
Now,
Can I get off right
the
here?
important thing is Mexicans are low
Thank you. Have a good one.
tier.
I'm
Okay?
confused.
Low tier.
Oh my god.
Alright, yo, Bookie.
Are you
Listen.
in a club? Like, where are you?
Yeah, look, you see those lights?
What you doing ecstasy in her room?
Yeah. Bro, this is like a scene of the Get Down, yo, and Jaden Smith got freaking high, bro. Like, this dude is.
I have a disco light in my room.
So, Bookie, are you gonna help me get rid of the Mexican?
Bro, why does Bookie look she's like making herself into like a freaking like haze? Like she's just about to be in like all kinds of like really like weird trippy drugs, bro.
I didn't even realize my.
Yo, Bookie's on codeine, yo.
Psychedelic.
Bookie, listen. Bookie, I'm gonna give you a link to an incredible story, and you're gonna read it, and you're gonna love it. Okay?
Please, everybody was laughing when you talked about it, so can I get in on the joke?
They only were laughing because I think they only laughed because
I was making fun of Mexicans.
How are you gonna cut me off, Kevin? This man is. Listen, Boogie, they were laughing partly because of how I segued into it and because of Kevin's racism. But look, man, Boogie, Kevin is spreading hate. I am spreading something that will bring joy and a little bit of grief, but mostly joy to your life.
Yo, deport every Mexican in our country.
Yeah, yo, we're deporting all.
No remorse.
Listen,
think about it. What are they offering?
We're
What are they offering?
deporting Mexican women.
Have sexy
No, they don't.
Wesley, I have a question for you.
Is this true, Miguel? No.
How do you know?
Wesley is a coon.
I mean, he's Ecuadorian. He's Ecuadorian.
Parece que va a llover. Pero me estoy mojando.
Dice que
soy un
payaso.
payaso que estoy riendo. Anyway, racism aside. Yo, Wesley, I have a question for you.
Okay.
If you found out Bookie killed 5 billion people, I mean not Bookie, sorry. If you found out Lacey killed 5 billion people, would you still love her?
You asked me that.
You didn't answer the other day. You said no?
Said I would care, but she would have to die.
Wow.
We have to die.
Wait. Would you time out. Would you kill her, or would you just allow her to be put to death?
I wouldn't want to.
They better smoke her away.
I mean, I guess I would.
Yo, smoke her yourself.
Yeah, I guess.
Wait. Let him answer. Let him answer.
I guess I would have. I would feel responsibility. We
gotta how about this, Wesley? You hesitate to do it, and the hangout crew is all like, yo, Wes, you gotta kill your girl, bro. Like it's justice, man. How would you feel?
I would start smoking you guys. Like,
that sounds messy, bro. That sounds like a messy shit.
He's smoking. Well, listen.
What if Lacey told you like I love you, but like
let's talk about the important smoking. The smoking of Mexican women. That is what we need to talk about.
Yo, this is live, Kevin. Yo, why does Kevin always go on these racist rants when he's live, bro? Why is he? He always does it when he's live. Like, it's like he gets adrenaline off, like being exposed.
I can hear Ibu screaming coming inside the house.
What did you think of the one step?
Kevin.
Wesley, I will not allow.
You stop screaming.
become a politician or a celebrity, please?
I will become a politician. I'm already a celebrity.
It's like, imagine, like, what's it called? Kevin being like the new Donald Trump is like, I respect and love Mexican.
Now listen, Donald Trump is a disgusting human being. I have no problem with Hispanic people as a whole. I just do not like Mexican women specifically.
You said Donald Trump is respectable. Kevin should just.
I said I do not like anything about Donald Trump.
You just called him respectable.
He was respectable.
You fucking contradict yourself.
Whoa. I said I am respectable.
You just did.
I don't have a problem with Hispanics as a whole. I just don't like Mexican women. I think they all need to be just worded. That's why.
Oh my god.
Yo, speaking of which, I gotta tell you guys a story about what happened to me in a New York's. One Piece doesn't have like American races. I mean, human races.
Speaking of that, what did you think of the chapter?
Yo, anyways, guys,
Katakuri.
Yo, we're not. This is not even getting creative. He's not even creatively transitioning. He's just like, One Piece chapter.
Yeah, he's gonna power into it.
Like he's gonna try to force it through.
There's no time for he's gonna power into it.
What did you guys say? Stop me now.
Yo, who saw Thor Ragnarok?
I didn't.
Probably. I'm not watching.
For those who saw it, wait, who saw it in this call?
Don't, you know, spoilers?
No, I'm just asking. Wait, time out.
I'm just really broke right now.
Do you enjoy those movies though, like the Marvel and the DC?
I have to admit, because this year I was too broke and going through a lot of stuff. I usually saw every single Marvel movie as they came out, but I haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and I haven't seen Spider-Man. So I haven't seen since.
Oh my god!
I mean, you can always just catch up. I stopped watching. I stopped watching of them for like 2 years, and I just caught up in like a week when I was in the mood. And it's fine.
I understand, but the thing is that I heard Spider-Man didn't make that much money, so I want to either watch it on Netflix or buy it on Blu-ray.
Because Spider-Man came.
Why is Boogie such a?
I'm trying to remember which movie came out around Spider-Man.
Okay, so the thing is, Spider-Man's already out on digital, but the thing is that the reason why I'm very passionate about, taking these things like legally, other than Game of Thrones, because Game of Thrones makes a shit ton of money. It's like I had an argument with people in my class, and these are art students, artists and animators, and then someone's like, I can't pay for Crunchyroll or anything. Like, I don't care. I don't give a shit. Like, I'll never pay for any of that stuff. And I'm like, and you're here studying to become an animator, and you want that. I don't know. Everybody just feeds the idea that entertainment is not worth it.
Yo, Wesley is wild. Yo, Wes. You just said, wouldn't let my ex live with me unless I still had feelings for her or she was homeless, and even then she'd have to be my maid.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, bro. Wear the uniform and everything.
Listen.
Wait, I understand, but it's the only reason I feel like about movies that I know aren't gonna make like $40 billion. But if it's like a Hollywood blockbuster movie that I know is gonna make so much money, I just don't.
You're just gonna pirate her.
Yeah, I don't care either way.
Yeah.
Hey,
when it comes to older movies, I don't mind pirating because I know they made their money.
Yeah.
But when it comes to niche indie games,
sounds like some bullshit logic to not spend money.
Yeah.
For me?
Some people are so entitled. I watch all the stuff I want, and I never have to pay for it.
Wesley, listen. As long as you're watching it in HD. No, wait. Before we get to that scared. So Wesley, as long as you're watching it in HD, I can respect you as a human being.
What?
That's all, man.
If I steal a movie and that I don't expect to like, and then I like it, I'll go see it again in the theater, or I'll go tell people that they should really go see it and stuff like that. So it's free promotion for them.
I skimmed through Civil War again, like last weekend.
What movie are we talking about?
Superhero movies.
No. I mean, that's what Wesley was talking about, but
wait.
I was asking who saw Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Yo, me.
Shakir just saw it.
Oh my god.
My
thumbs up or thumbs down?
Bookie's trying to ask you something.
Oh no, I just
asked him a question first.
Shakira.
Like, I can't even. Two people talking at once. What's going on now?
I'm talking about how much I hate Mexican women.
Oh my God, Kevin! No, what'd you say, Boogie?
I said I'm just greeting you as a fellow Bakugo enthusiast. Hello, good evening.
Oh yeah. Hello, Mama Boogie.
He doesn't like Bakugo.
I love Bakugo. You're right, Wesley. I love Bakugo.
He likes Kirishima better now.
Yeah, Wesley, you stop speaking. So, hello, Bookie.
Hello, Shakira. I'm was good. I finished my Bakugo character script, and I am getting into the fire by reading Bakugo Hate again.
Did you say Bakugo character script?
Oh yeah, I wrote like a 40-page.
Yeah, I think she's doing a YouTube video about it.
Good night.
I haven't made a video since Shinji Ikari.
Bakugo?
I think you're obsessed with this fictional character that does not exist in the real world.
Oh, you just
Bakugo?
told me something I never knew. Wow.
Oh my.
Young.
It's just an observation.
Young, the observation.
Amen. Sometimes when things are just great, you just gotta really just.
It's not like I was building a shrine for him or anything. It's not like I only bought volumes of the manga that have him on the cover or anything.
It's fine, man. I pray to Chris Claremont every day, so
As long as
I'm not joking.
I buy doesn't have Mexican women.
Wait, so who was asking about Ragnarok?
It's lit.
I was originally trying to say before Kevin came with the Mexican stuff.
Wait, what the fuck was my mumbling? Swallow your food.
Sorry. Okay, anyway, I was sorry. Yeah, she is a mom, yo. She's storm, bro. Like, swallow your food.
Just swallow your food.
Anyway, before Kevin came in with the anti-Mexican talk, Shakira, thumbs up or thumbs down to Ragnarok?
I only heard good things.
I just wanted to
I'm asking Shakira.
please.
7 thumbs up. 9 thumbs up to that.
God damn! Wait.
Amazing.
Time out. I need to kind of scale. I need to power scale this rating in my head for Shakir. So, what did you think of Let me power scale this. What do you think of Spider-Man: Homecoming?
Spider-Man: Homecoming was great.
What did you think of Avengers: Age of Ultron?
Age of Ultron was cool.
That movie sucked, yeah.
It was cool. It wasn't like anything like.
Nah, that movie blew cocky. That's like it's at the bottom.
You really gassed it. You gassed it.
Listen.
You gassed it.
Can I finish? Why are you getting so angry, bro? Like, is Kevin
because you're
paying your bills, bro? Like, calm down. Let me finish my sentence. Listen. This is my opinion, but
what's up?
I'm reaching from you to you from the other side. Oh yes. Can I speak now? Yes. I wanted to say.
Oh my goodness.
No, I'm not even talking about Marvel. Don't worry. I just wanted to say in case anybody in case Young didn't get it, when I said I was building a shrine for Baku, I was being serious because I felt like he didn't know I was. Okay. Did you?
What was that?
Wait, what happened?
How dumb I am. I didn't tell anybody but Wesley, but for Anime North next year, I and my friends are going as Bakugo cheerleader. We're gonna carry orange and black pom-poms and have a big flag and everything, and we're gonna do all the cosplayers.
Why are you subjecting your friends to such torture?
No, I asked anyone who wants to go, and I had volunteers.
Boku no Hero is a lovely series, Young.
When you ask them, what is a gun?
I like it.
I already see I'm about to get triggered with agreement. So
I literally just said it's a lovely series. Like, why wouldn't somebody really be into it? What?
So are we gonna just talk about how Mexican women are trash, or are we gonna do this review?
No.
Oh my God! Listen. So
what do you have?
I preferably like Age of Ultron because I am a Hawkeye. I was more of a Hawkeye movie.
Oh! No, it wasn't a Hawkeye movie.
It wasn't a Hawkeye
movie.
Just because they went to his dumbass ranch.
Time out. Can I respond to him, please? Like, I was gonna say, no, I actually do like the more kind of characterization and character development and spotlight on him. It wasn't a Hawkeye movie, but like, the thing is, like, he was the one guy who was kind of underdeveloped in the first movie because it's just like he's not like an A-list name, and they just kind of threw him in the side. And so he was one guy who needed to kind of catch up in terms of like knowing about him and all that kind of thing. So I liked him.
No,
I like that.
It was very lazy. Because they just threw,
they
just threw him. Listen, they just threw in development for him because they knew that was going to be like the last chance.
That doesn't make it lazy though.
How's that lazy?
Because they just threw it in at the end instead of actually doing it in like the Phase 1 movies.
What are you talking about? They gave him fucking moments throughout the entire movie. He was the one that
after the twins were kicking all their asses. I'm saying it should have been before that movie. Cause look,
nigga, he was only in one movie before that.
he was in Avengers 1.
He could have been in.
It would have been kind of in Phase 1. It would have been kind of shoehorned in, but that's not my point.
Black Widow was in plenty of MCU movies before Avengers.
What do you mean plenty?
Which ones?
Not plenty, but she was in some. It didn't have to
she was in one Iron Man movie, bro. Like one Iron Man movie.
That's all right, and that's way more than Hawkeye has been in.
Okay, and she wasn't even that good in Iron Man 2. Like she didn't even shine until the first Avengers.
You know
that's one more than Hawkeye was.
That's your opinion. What do you mean she wasn't that good in the first Avengers?
You know, you didn't even hear what I said. I said she wasn't even that good in the Iron Man movie. I said she didn't even shine until Avengers 1. That's when he was like,
that's your opinion. I do not agree with that.
Clean your ears.
I guess, but what I was trying to say.
Clean your food.
You guys do realize that we
clean your cooking skills.
Everybody stop for a second. We've been talking about a bunch.
Where is this background noise coming from?
For like the last 30 minutes.
Kevin, stop with the Mexican woman.
Yo, word, Kevin, you.
I said we've been talking about
where's this
stuff. The first 30 minutes of this review.
Oh my god.
Coons.
Bro, don't you understand how Wesley reviews go, bro?
Yeah. Is it still live?
It's literally a review. It's literally a review on his channel where you don't even talk about One Piece at all.
Lit, man. Again, listen, guys. Look, to the people watching at home, the factual, objective, greatest creators of all time in anything are as follows: George
Please
Lucas,
don't tell me you're
Eiichiro
advertising Oda, X-Men,
Takehiko. I've done that already. My contract states. My contract with Claremont states I have to shill it 3 times a day.
You can only have one contract at a time.
Okay, anyway.
But listen.
Y'all, please let's talk about One Piece now.
Wait, Bookie. I was talking to the people. I was talking to America, Bookie.
America's not listening to us. We're too niche.
Listen, America. Eiichiro Oda. Wait. Did I see something happen? What happened? Is he on camera or something?
Man in the world. Let's start.
What's happening? All right, wait. Time out. This dude Wesley did. This is if Wesley doesn't come back immediately, this call is gonna okay, he's back. I was gonna say if he didn't come back, we would have not been live anymore.
Guys, I have an idea. Let's start.
Wait, Bookie, time out. I wanted to finish my message to America before we did that.
This is great. The end.
Listen, America.
Who are the top 3 comic creators?
Comic what?
Creators.
Do you mean both the East and the West?
I can give you. Oh wait. You're talking about like in the whole medium of sequential art?
Yes.
Shut up.
Jesus Christ. I feel like only you and me like just low-key laugh. It's like a passive-aggressive troll comment, like the way Andre says certain things. But anyway. I can't answer that, Wesley. But again, I just wanted to factually tell America that the greatest, the factual, objective greatest creators.
Let's just narrow it down to
Wait, listen. I just wanted to tell America this. Listen, America, Inoue, Oda, Toriyama, George Lucas, Chris Claremont, and Yoshiyuki Tomino are the top 6. Thank you very much.
Wait, Wesley, I have a legitimate question for you. How many views did you get on the last One Piece review? Or the last review that we did this shit where we just did a bunch of random shit for the last 30 days. I just want to know. The one where we just randomly talked and then we did a review like after an hour. I just want to know.
That one got like it got like at least 100 or something like that. The last one.
No, it did not.
Yeah, how many dislikes did it get because it was misleading?
9. Maybe like 1.
Dislike right now.
I gotta remember which one it was. That was like a couple weeks ago.
Bookie, are you trying to ask me something?
Yes, I'm trying to whispering your name for like 1 minute.
Go ahead. What's up?
I've never seen a Star Wars movie except Force Awakens. I know I'm a horrible person, but I've heard that.
Are you?
You're the person I've heard like really praising George Lucas. Most people think like.
Bookie, you would like Jar Jar Binks.
Oh my.
I'm offended, even though I haven't seen the movie. But anyway, what I mean is that most people I see who talk about film and writing and stuff said George Lucas is the one. He's the one who single-handedly did like the prequels, right? Like he didn't let anyone.
Yeah.
He's good with ideas, but horrible with execution. Like he got high.
I mean, I was gonna point out that out of the 6 creators / writers that I listed, I think Lucas and maybe Tomino slightly are the only ones who got worse like over time.
I think
Toriyama.
Tomino's way better than Lucas in general,
as
but like
writer.
Yeah, as a writer. But no, but the thing is like Lucas. Toriyama. Toriyama also got worse. Toriyama, that's because of him being senile and just not caring. But
got worse.
Yeah. But
Toriyama's art is better than ever.
No, it's not, Wesley.
It's a different style.
It is a different style, but it's not better. It was like
better. I would say it's not. I don't think it dropped off.
I never said that either. But I was gonna say his best art is a few years after Dragon Ball ended. When you look at his Kanzenban cover work and like some of his panels and stuff for like little side things he did, like 03 Toriyama art looks like mad godly. But yeah, I think Toriyama got worse. Tomino, like because he comes back occasionally to like do stuff with Gundam and it's not that good. But Oda has not gotten worse. Claremont quit before he got bad, before he even had a chance to get bad. And Oda has not gotten worse. And Inoue has not gotten worse.
Is that it? Yes, he's sure. Why is that even a question, Shakir?
What? Nigga, it's not it. Nigga, it's an observation.
Yo, Wesley, I have a goal for you within a year, Wesley.
It's a question-like observation.
Wesley, I want you to get Chris Claremont on your channel by next year. And before you react crazily, listen, just hear me out. Random college kids who have a podcast on YouTube successfully emailed this man and said, when are you available? Can you have a conversation with us? And he came on their channel and just talked to them for an hour. So
if I do all the work, you don't get to talk to him on the channel.
Wait, what did you say?
I said if I ever get him on and I do all the work, you don't get to be in the call. Everybody else.
You know what's the funny thing? If Shakir came in trolling comics and stuff, Claremont would literally say, I agree. I think it's ridiculous. It's absolutely vile. It's funny how the comic industry with these oversaturated, disgusting superheroes. It's just... he admitted in a random call with college kids. He's like, they're like, do you even read superhero comics? And he was like, goodness gracious, no. And I was like, good night.
He talks like that?
Yeah. Yo, his voice makes him sound way more woke than if he sounded normal. All he said was, his voice, he goes like, the Dark Phoenix was just an anachronism for the way the Unite. He just talks like that. It's so funny.
Oh, yesterday was National Do-Rag Day?
What?
I mean, my flap was out, nigga.
Yeah.
Ibrahima. So,
what's up?
All right, they somehow managed to mix in Hulk, Planet Hulk in there. Perfect. So great.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
They're about to make it a separate movie, but they canceled that and just mixed it, I guess.
Hulk
probably for the best
character throughout the entire movie.
That's what I heard too.
Thor being outshined by another character in his own movie, as expected.
But
anyway,
Thor was actually pretty good at this, unlike his other two movies.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
How do you think you make a good Thor movie? Thor's not the main character.
No. That's not the thing though. Like that's what makes me so sad about why the other two suck. Because it's like Thor is such an epic character, and then yet movie one is a freaking fish out of water story where this dude is in like a realistic setting with freaking the girl
His
from.
Movies are all like space Game of Thrones-y.
No, but that could be lit though, because it's like Thor is lit, and it's like, you know what's the funny thing? I think it says it's phase one, and they didn't know how to handle, because it's like they pretty much fairly well nailed Doctor Strange compared to the comics, and it's like they took all that kind of fantasy babble, and like they did a pretty
Doctor
good.
Strange was cool in this too.
He's in his movie. Why are you spoiling?
Did you just spoil
He's in
me?
the movie? Yeah. Wait, what?
Whoa, what?
Shakira, what are you doing?
Why would you tell us that?
Wait, time out, bro. Time out. No. Doctor Strange.
I didn't even know that.
I didn't know.
That was not in the trailers. Stop talking. Stop talking.
Doctor Strange.
Oh yeah. That is true. That is
credit
true.
scene from Doctor Strange, nigga.
Okay, but I forgot. Why would you do that?
I did forget that.
Shakira, do you realize I would have nutted in theaters like, yeah.
Doctor Strange.
Wesley. Yo, take my word. The thing is, like, before the movie, the Doctor Strange was one of the characters that in Marvel the verse that I was the least familiar with, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know much about him, and I watched the movie, right? And I was like, yeah, they did the fantasy stuff really cool, dude. Trust me when I say this. All that kind of like fantasy babble comes off even more godly in comics, bro.
Yeah.
Like yo, listen. It is though, because like, bro, he pulled up in an X-Men issue when dude starts, he's like, the eye of Agamotto will grant me the voices of the Ancient One, and I'm like, yeah! Like, I don't get mad hype. Like, he just like,
Doctor Strange is cool, bro.
Yeah, he says, bro, nothing will be funnier than Phoenix going ham, and this dude just goes, Dormammu? That was the funniest thing I've seen, bro. Gene is really rocking stuff, and he's like, Dormammu? He's been released? I'm like, nah, bro. That's Gene, fam. They cut to the Marvel version. I was crying.
Good movie was all over it.
Marvel's lineup for the next, like, Marvel's been on a roll. Freaking Civil War. Then what? Guardians 2, Spider-Man.
Guardians 2 was better.
The Spider-Man, Thor Ragnarok. We're gonna get Black Panther. Then Avengers Infinity War Part 1.
I don't want to get too go ahead.
Yeah, be quiet, Evo.
You know what I was gonna say?
What
you know what I was gonna say?
If you don't want to get too excited for Infinity War, then I don't know what to say.
I don't know. You know, let me reword this. Let me reword this.
I have a question for you.
Can I respond to that?
So if you had a friend, right?
Kevin.
Oh boy.
Your friend had a.
If you say the word Mexican and
I was just about to say that. I was just about to say like, and your friend was Mexican.
Hold on. That's the second thing I'm gonna ask. But
yes,
your friend had.
What is wrong with Kevin and Hispanic today? For real?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
He's jealous.
Kevin, hurry.
I don't know what I'm about to ask. Okay.
He's jealous.
Kevin and Harry ain't no sex with a Mexican kid. I'm telling you, like he just
whatever. And then she broke up with that guy, right?
Oh my god!
But they still live together, and then she starts talking to another person.
Oh my god!
Do you think the ex is smashing or not?
Oh my goodness!
Do you think the ex is still low-key?
I don't think she understood your story. I think you should be clear.
Too many people talking at once.
Yeah, like.
Okay.
From the little I heard, I decided it doesn't matter. Thinking about it is a waste of time. Move on.
That's a good point.
Now let me ask my second thing.
Jazakallah.
Will you help
ask
me
your second
rid
question.
the universe
This
of
planet.
Mexican women?
Plan to eradicate the Mexican woman.
Plan to eradicate them? That's a Dragon Ball reference.
What is wrong with
67.
Oh no, man! Like,
listen, they showed off a trailer. They showed off a trailer for the New Mutants.
Bro, what is that? Like,
looks more like a horror movie. I don't know exactly
Shakir,
what it is.
What is Fox doing with these X-Men properties? Well, like, what are they doing?
Responding to Kevin.
Go ahead.
Mother of God.
I think you didn't want to answer.
Listen, Kevin's racist jumbles on Wesley's YouTube is bad for publicity. Like, what do you?
Not really.
What's wrong?
Wesley, he's cutting into Wesley's demographic, bro. Like,
it attracts a certain fan base.
Exactly.
I hope no Mexicans are allowed to use YouTube.
There's a secret.
Face promo.
Yo, listen.
Taking our
listen.
The face promo.
Yo, listen. Yo, there's a secret three. Listen. There's a secret 3-man fan base of Kevin. Yo, Kevin's racism in his channel.
Asshole Miguel's right there, Kevin.
Miguel's
he's not Mexican.
Miguel's not Mexican.
You're racist. But listen.
Hey man, but as a fellow Hispanic, it hurts him.
Really? He's not. What the hell's wrong with him?
No. Listen, man.
Bookie, respond. Hey, Ibrahim, stop talking for a second. Let Bookie respond. Please.
About the Mexican trolling?
I sleep.
Did she did?
No.
Okay, Kevin, stop battling.
Because you kept interrupting Raccoon.
No, I didn't. She interrupted me.
Yes, you did.
No, I actually didn't. Though.
Mother of God.
I was talking to Shakir.
Back to Marvel. Yeah, Infinity War is gonna be godly.
Wait, okay, are we talking about Marvel or Mexicans now? I don't know.
No, we're talking about Marvel.
The Marvel
The Marvel.
Oh my God.
Message me
Talking
talking
about
about.
Ant-Man and the Wasp is gonna be lit.
Bookie, let me ask Bookie the question because I want to hear her response on this.
Yeah.
Oh, there she goes again.
She's gone. Okay.
Oh my goodness.
Like I was saying, the New Mutants. I'm not sure what it is. It seems like a horror movie to me.
It is, Shakir.
Yeah,
it is.
why,
And it's ridiculous. It's like Fox is taking these X-Men properties and just to keep them under them and not under MCU, they're making movies. But it's like they're really cooning around. How are you gonna make new?
They're just throwing this shit under different like genres.
Here's the thing. New Mutants was the first ever X-Men spinoff, and it obviously.
Sorry, you called my name before I left.
That's a question.
Oh my God.
Let's say
Yo,
you were,
we can just keep.
let's say you were talking to someone and you like.
I'm probably.
You're probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, you said.
Let's say you were talking to someone that you liked, a girl, and that girl liked you, and then you find out that girl has a roommate, and that roommate is her ex-boyfriend.
Oh my God.
What would you do? Right? Do you think that girl is still interested in that person, or do you think they're 100% platonic? And that girl says they're platonic.
Okay, so the thing that in the words
I'm
of
seepy beepy skeep. Oh my God.
Okay, in the words of my friend who is bisexual but mostly into girls, she says if somebody will talks to their ex, get the fuck away from them. Get
Nah, they claim Bookie, look. They claim that
someone needed that. Someone needed that about you.
Hold on. They claim that their exes are just living with them platonically, and they avoid each other at all costs. They just live in the house for financial convenience, and they don't do anything together. Do you believe that or not?
But you could have given that advice back in May.
Okay, so listen, Kevin. So the way she explained it and the way, let me tell it to you. So it's like,
oh my,
imagine you're in.
I just did some math in my head.
All the way, and she's like, by the way, I have
my
ex, but I don't care about him. It's like, bitch, why do you bring up your ex? You obviously care.
Yeah.
What if this person never brings up their ex, and they're literally just sharing the house because they broke up not that long ago, and they financially are interdependent on each other. That's why they stay together and they pay certain bills apart from each other. But they have no feeling. They don't interact. They don't sleep in the same spot. The other guy comes late. They just live in that
this
same.
This is what I told you. This is what I said earlier, bro. This is what I said earlier. All right.
I don't know. I don't know what I came into this, Shakir. We're talking to Bookie about a hypothetical situation.
Yeah, nigga.
Anyway.
I'm just saying. This is what I said about when we were talking about the question earlier. Listen, they used to share that they used to date in the same house, so there's most likely one bedroom. You think this man is sleeping on a couch while paying bills, bro. You think he's sleeping willingly on the couch while paying bills? Nothing from this, bro.
Okay,
You got him fucked. You got the game
guys,
fucked
I'm
up, bro.
not mentally prepared for
We
this.
we have no idea. We have no idea if there's another mattress in the house. We have no idea.
Wait, can I respond
Yes,
first?
Bookie, please.
Go ahead.
What I'm saying is that why go for somebody who has all that fine print at the
Baggage?
bottom of the contract when you could find somebody who's not living with their ex?
Bookie, that is a good point, but let's assume you love that person.
If you love that person,
Yeah.
man,
Exactly.
okay, it's like you love that person. So it's like
Yeah, you're crazy about that
like I
person.
ship us hard kind of.
Yes.
Okay. I would say it depends. I'm very upfront. I am a very upfront person. I would be like, I tell you how I feel about this. Do you still want to bang him? What do you
But
you would just
it is already known that this person does not want to.
What is she lying? Okay, see the thing. Then that
What if you had what if you had private and visual confirmation that they are like that they are separated for real.
Young, what are you doing?
What happened?
Young, what's
What
wrong
happened?
with you?
trying to kick Kevin or like
Man, what did Young do?
he blocked
Yeah,
Kevin.
Young is muted. What was that?
Okay.
But that's true.
Yeah. What I was going to say is that every single couple has history, so it's like it depends. Were this ex, were you guys friends before you dated? Because if you were friends before you dated, I don't care. The problem is that when people they meet, they immediately start dating, and then they break up thinking they can have a friendship. Like, bitch, you were friends before. Why would you be friends now after all the drama?
Oh man,
I guess, yeah.
That's different.
Yeah, but I mean, some people date and then they realize that they don't have that
Sometimes.
But
Young trying to block me?
Complicated.
We're not
It's
friends.
complicated. The thing is, like, I think if you just met that person, you should bail out. You don't want that baggage unless you have. But once you're already attached, you can't just cut somebody off like that. It's just not.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
It's not that simple. It's not that simple.
You just lose a piece of yourself every time.
Kevin.
But it's fine.
Lose
It's
a
fine.
piece of
I
it.
can't hear Kevin.
But it's fine. Listen, I'm fine.
Young, you blocked.
Yo, I accidentally blocked him. How do I unblock him?
Is that an accident?
Young said he
Yo, I
accidentally
swear, I
blocked
was
Kevin.
like, no, my phone was to my ear.
I am super sleep.
Yeah, it told everybody that Young blocked Kevin. Do you also want
Yeah,
to
like,
block
you want to
Kevin?
block?
So do you also want to block Kevin?
Damn.
Young, that's a shot fired right there.
Nigga, he can't hear you, Kevin.
I just unblocked him.
Tell
How
him
about now?
that's a shot fired, brother.
Kevin, say something.
He's been talking, Young.
Tell him to say something right now.
Say something right now, Kevin.
I'm still talking.
Young, he said he never unblocked me.
Young dipped.
I'm asleep. He thinks that his phone has issues.
Young said,
I think he ear blocked. Like,
Shakir, I can see he's gone. I can see that he's gone.
he said it before he left, bitch.
What?
Coon.
Coon behavior, man.
Mexican people.
Yeah.
Listen.
What did Bookie think of the One Piece chapter?
No. Stop. Yeah. But listen. Freaking
So the Justice League, man. Who's excited?
Wait. Nah. We're not gonna talk about Justice League. But look, but I was saying earlier, I don't respect people who watch things in 480p. People who have the option to just see things in a higher quality. Like, it just, those types of people just disgust me. You know, it just.
People are so picky about that quality.
Ibrahim,
Uber.
Ibrahim, you forgot where you came from, bro.
Listen.
It was slow as shit, bro. And I used to. I had to wait 30 minutes to load a 5-minute video of Naruto versus Sasuke.
It was disgusting. I remember those days. It's disgusting. But here's the thing, bro. Like Uber Hikari greatly put up and said one day in a J Room episode in 2013. He was like, "Did a new Attack on Titan episode come out?" Yeah. And then he's like, "You got a link, Zoro?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Is it HD?" And he's like, yeah, it's HD. And listen. He clicks the link, and he's like, this shit don't look like 1080p, nigga. I was this don't look like 1080p, my nigga. Yeah. This ain't 1080p.
Yo, Uber's voice is so fucking high. Now,
come on, man. Convenience.
You gotta understand. Like, some people are content with like.
Y'all finally beat Breath of the
Wild. How can you settle for weaker quality? Like.
I don't care that much.
If I can watch
it
on the go.
Yeah, wait, Kevin, you watch shit in like 220p, nigga. Like, what's wrong with you?
Stop. I don't go that far. Like, I have standards. Please.
Do you?
I would never. No.
Anything below 720 is unacceptable.
Yeah.
540 is fine.
Listen.
You said 540 is fine.
Nigga, Crunchyroll.
It's not that bad.
Crunchyroll is $5.
Dumb food.
Bad,
Yo, this nigga need to be on gogoanime.com like in 2010.
Crunchyroll is $5
Go Anime.
Bro, it's 2017.
I don't care that much. It's really not.
Do not settle for weak.
Kevin, bro, you're too used to being in Africa, bro.
Oh my god.
What does that mean?
I
had an HD TV. Don't ever say that again, Coon. I just don't care that much. You know why I'm so turned off against HD stuff?
Shit.
Good night.
See, my uncle used to work in Circuit City, and trust me, I had great quality.
Where's Circuit City now, Kevin? Where's Circuit City now, Kevin?
Nigga, I've been here for 14 years. I've seen what the fuck HDTV look. Stop, please. I don't care. Like,
Kevin, we have DVD players now. Blu-ray is the norm.
Listen, I don't like that condescending tone. Like regarding my whole. I don't do that. I don't find that funny.
Kevin, stop babbling.
Oh my god.
It's really disrespectful. Just because I'm African, I don't know what the fuck.
Kevin, stop babbling.
Kevin, who gives a damn? We all originate from Africa, nigga. Everybody in this damn call. Not your home. It's everybody's home, nigga.
Not me.
Shut up, Wesley. Everybody originates.
Shakir,
this dude Wesley said not me.
400 years ago. Please. I give a damn. Because you're perpetuating the fire stereotype. What do you mean?
I floated in.
I give a damn.
Stardust.
You made a bunch of comments.
Two big bangs.
It's all our homes, Kevin.
I do, Shakir.
Everybody's home.
No, it's not your home. I came directly from there.
It is my home, Kevin. It's everybody's homeland. It's this fucking call, nigga. My ancestors were stolen from there. Nigga, the fuck you mean?
Yeah. What do you say?
Yeah.
It's not your homeland, nigga. It's your ancestors' homeland. 400 years ago.
Really?
No, it's not your homeland. I came from there.
Kevin, shut up. Kevin, am I not African?
Africans are not.
Fuck you, bro.
Give a born
there? Kevin,
you born there?
Just because my parents. All right, I was born in the U.S., but am I not African?
I never said you were.
Okay, but it applies to me too, right?
Damn, Kevin, I don't hear you talking about African food every week, nigga. You eating Chinese food, nigga.
Yeah.
Like a true American nigga. All right.
Is that food really good?
No, it's absolute. It's an absolute trash, Wesley. I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
They're different
regions. That's really broad. Just to
that's all
like African.
Yeah, I was gonna say like
that's the whole thing that people do. Africa, like it's a huge continent.
Yeah, it's
Nigerian. It is pretty lit.
It's Nigerian food.
I know it's not Mexican food, so fuck.
I haven't had any non-Senegalese African food. Really.
Oh, okay.
Are you serious, Mohammed?
What do you mean? Am I serious?
Here's a discussion.
I think you have, Mohammed, without realizing.
Here's a discussion.
Well, not much.
Which ethnicity has the worst food?
Sure.
Chinese.
Which ethnicity?
Well,
I feel like
Americans even have food.
Like any American-made inventions of food.
Do Americans have like their own food?
First of all,
hot dog American?
American food may be like unhealthy, bro, but it tastes good, nigga. It tastes good.
No, but what is American food is my question.
Like shit like nachos is American food.
Is nachos really an American creation?
I don't even know anymore.
Macaroni.
Burritos are food.
I swear everything
No.
Macaroni and cheese.
A burrito can be American.
No, burritos are different. Wait, no, time out. Are burgers American creations? Someone should look that up. I would assume
burgers can be American.
They're German.
Oh yeah, they're not. Hamburg. It was created in Hamburg, Germany. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
French fries. French fries are American created, not actually from France. Those
yeah.
That's an
Is that true?
They're not from France, but they're not American.
They
They're not
can't be
American
the
created.
first people to just cut up a potato and fry them.
Listen, honkies haven't created anything, man. Like,
I'm gonna say
French fries are
American honkies.
I'm gonna say objectively, in total, Chinese food is the worst.
I agree.
I'm gonna stop you right there.
I thought I was the one guy to say to call it overrated.
Yeah, it's overrated.
Yeah, like you could name, you could pick out like 4.
It's good though.
Chinese dishes. You could pick out like 4 good dishes that you will always get, nigga. But anything beyond that, you're not trying, nigga.
It always,
bro. You're assuming that the Chinese food that.
Listen, man. It's a lot of sauce and cat, man. Like,
you're assuming that the food. You're assuming that the fast food Chinese place.
I mean, it's alright.
Oh my God! Stop what?
They just sauce it up,
bro. You guys are assuming that the Chinese food. You guys are assuming the Chinese food that we know here in America.
No. I know people from China.
You know people from China. You don't know how to.
They've cooked for me. What do you mean?
I know people from China.
Food. They come from that country and they make it for you.
I'll say from my experience, it was Thai food.
Thai food good.
I haven't had.
Thai food stops Chinese food.
Thai food is low on the tier.
My mom loves Thai food.
I like a.
She was like,
"What else
have you guys tried Thai food? Oh my God!"
Out of all Asian food, Chinese food.
Fried rice is good. Orange chicken. I think that's Americanized though. I'm pretty sure that's not Chinese.
Yo, Americans just take everything.
Egg rolls.
They gem shit.
They don't even care. Bro, pizza.
Are egg rolls?
Italian food is the best though.
Not really.
To be honest, most Italian dishes are just variations of the exact same thing. They use the same ingredients over and over again.
Italian food is the best, bro.
Chinese they literally eat like live squid, like
French fries.
There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know why.
A live squid, nigga. I'm not eating anything that's alive.
Nigga, have you tasted a live squid, nigga? Have you tasted a live squid?
Why would I eat anything that's alive and kicking right now, bro? Like the fuck you mean?
You haven't tasted it.
Good.
What about ass?
All right, look. That's
ever in my
but look. Okay, French fries were created.
If you haven't eaten it, listen.
Okay, we're going to ignore the fact that Wesley just said that.
French fries were supposedly created in Belgium.
What?
Belgium. French fries, yeah.
Okay, can somebody just look up what foods have Americans invented?
That isn't stupid.
Listen. Only really dumb dishes that they sell at these hipster food places that Americans go to.
So I told you macaroni and cheese.
You invented that?
Yeah, Americans. S'mores. S'mores
Tater tots,
Wait, Ebu. Stop talking so much, please.
Meatloaf, corn dogs.
Meatloaf is woke.
Meatloaf is woke.
Good meatloaf is lit. Good meatloaf is crazy.
It's a loaf of meat.
Time out. You know what I just realized, Wesley? All we're gonna see in this list are the good black people soul food. So let's take that out of the equation.
Milkshakes.
That's not
milkshakes isn't real food.
Pecan pie. Pecan pie.
Donut holes.
Meatloaf is the poor man's steak.
Exactly.
No, it isn't.
Let me ask OJ for another opinion right here. OJ's here. OJ.
Yes, sir.
Which ethnicity has the worst food?
Has the worst food?
Finish your question.
Yes. To be honest, like,
I mean, I guess white people. I don't know.
Don't say that.
Did you say black?
What does that even mean, though?
It's never really occurred to me because, like,
that's
not counting Europeans.
You count white, Italian, German,
American. You mean like American Caucasian?
Yeah, that's like
all the uncultured white people. Like if you're German, you have your own foods.
You're
Irish, you have your own foods.
Remember when Shaquille was roasting Lisi's cooking that day, man? When he was showing bologna and like
goldfish snack burrito.
Boy.
Americans invented pork.
Yo, that was
Americans
sandwiches.
What? Wait, they invented what?
Fortune cookies, English muffins, French dip sandwiches, pasta primavera. Pasta primavera.
Pasta primavera.
That actually tastes good. That tastes good.
All these are.
That's probably when all the Italians came.
All these are tweet
Chimichangas.
Yeah, chimichangas.
Bush steak.
I was gonna say, Wesley, like a lot of these are freaking like just gimmings and inspirations of like dishes from other countries. So.
They're remixing.
Listen to me, bro. Macaroni and cheese is Torico, and freaking like just any other elbow pasta, whatever from Italy is freaking Fist of the North Star. Like, are you kidding me, bro? Like, what are you doing? Like,
corn dogs.
Man, I feel like you niggas enjoy a lot more American food than you would enjoy a lot of other type of shit.
I have no issues with
because we're used to it.
I don't even like most of this.
Because you're used to it.
I don't like macaroni.
I mean, I
like macaroni.
I don't like candy.
Yeah, but Wesley, try it with somebody other than Lizzie makes. I mean, I guarantee you'll like it, bro.
I'm sleep.
Yo, man. I mean, I eat other things other than American food normally anyway, so.
I said you're great.
Oh, we made sourdough bread, Cobb salad.
Bro, please stop.
Pot roast.
Chopped
It's
salad.
actually sad.
That sounds very
This
terrible.
nigga said pot.
Hey, we made fajitas.
You said what?
Fajitas.
What?
And
Exactly.
cornbread.
Just gymming, like.
We made cornbread.
Nachos.
Blacks, go. But listen.
Chili con carne was.
We made cornbread, jambalaya.
Jambalaya is a bunch of nonsense in a pot.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny? Freaking speaking of like white
California
cultural.
rolls.
Speaking
Grits.
of
We made grits. We win. American wins.
Shakir, all
All to make grits. Black people did.
That's not.
They don't count.
German chocolate.
Wesley, don't do this.
German chocolate cake was invented in America. That's pretty good. Cuban sandwich,
What'd you
pretty
say?
good. German chocolate cakes were invented in America. The Cuban sandwich is invented in America.
Let's specify what we mean by. Wait a second.
We invented the peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
When we say food, I'm talking about like not sweets. I'm talking about legit food that you can actually eat like as a meal. I'm not talking about, I want donuts.
Spaghettis and meatballs.
Fucking pie doesn't count.
We didn't make that.
Yeah, spaghetti and meatballs is.
Nigga, don't count sweets. Spaghetti and meatballs. Isn't that an Italian dish? That's based on.
Yes. No, it is an Italian dish. We didn't create that.
Chimichangas.
Yo, I don't like this use of we.
Chimichangas are garbage, yo.
They are.
Whoa.
We also
garbage.
made waffles.
Yeah.
They're freaking trash. Do you notice all the American variations on like burritos and stuff are so ass, bro? Like,
yeah, they're really bad.
try our taquitos or chimichangas, like, bro, those are horrible.
Taquitos.
Oh, y'all remember taquito? Oh my god.
Taquitos, bro, they're garbage.
We made
garbage.
buffalo wings.
Bro,
What? Black people.
it's an animal that you just.
What's
sauce on
That's
it.
the nigga food created. That's a nigga.
We made waffles.
Yeah, you know damn well Africans are just split chucking buffaloes and went to work. We really rocked some buffaloes and ate that day.
These are all things. Do Americans have any dishes? Like,
we invented barbecue ribs.
these are just things.
Okay. That is a first legitimately like godly like thing.
Barbecue rib,
even that, like, it's just like, hey, let's take ribs for barbecue sauce. It's like there's no like. Keep going.
Because I mean, America's a newer country than the rest of these fucking places.
Oh, come on.
America's younger.
That's a decent point.
It is.
Nah,
I was gonna say that earlier. No excuse though.
So, no excuse, bro.
No, but America has been historically just a bunch of immigrants.
Corn dogs.
Continue, man.
We invented BLTs, po' boys.
Oh my God, BLTs.
Wait, po' boys.
Wait.
What's next? Lay's potato chips?
What did he say? What did he say after BLT? He said, "Oh, what's that?"
What?
No, I don't know.
What is that? I don't know what the hell that is.
I don't know.
How do you
All we do is make different types of new sandwiches.
We just Chicago style.
Let's go.
Wait. What was the answer? What was the answer? What did it say? Chicago style pizza?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's
It's just
an Italian
deep
creation.
dish.
Oh boy, it's a southern sandwich, Kevin. So you should know because it's the meat.
Chicago style pizza.
What does that mean?
It's always usually sloppy.
Nigga, I don't know what that means.
Seafood that includes shrimp, crawfish, oysters, and crab.
Yeah, that's some cold southern shit. I don't know.
Let's see. I'll tag you when I find the panel. But that was also in the reading where Kitty tried New York pizza and she said this is what all the hype was all about. And I was like, disgusting.
Yeah.
And I kept reading.
New York
Hey
pizza.
guys,
She's eating a store. She's like, this is New York pizza. And she's like, this is what all the hype was all about. And then she's like, she's like, as young Catherine spends a day with Storm, and I'm like, yo, let's go, Kitty, bro. She can kill herself.
Smart woman.
Continue, Shakir.
yo, we invented hot dogs.
That is a goat invention. Continue.
Philly cheese.
But all it really is just cow cock and intestines. But look, anyway, continue.
Philly.
I said cow cock. Continue.
Philly cheesesteak.
Okay. We're getting lit now. Continue.
We invented the cheeseburger. Apparently, no one put cheese on a burger before us.
Yo, get out of here.
Apparently.
Yeah, why people are going to?
And the last thing on this list for some reason is Thanksgiving dinner.
Get out of here.
America's trash.
You're scared. You know what that list sounded like? You know like when they try to get you to list something and you try to sound legitimate, so you just throw in anything you guys like, Thanksgiving? BLTs?
Yo,
Lord, bro.
These are legit things that Americans invented, bro. You gotta give them props.
Can you go to a list of like another race or culture?
Thanksgiving dinner. All right. So what's that like?
Like I said,
Stuffing's pretty good.
Oh,
Yeah, stuffing.
Mashed potato, turkey.
Hello.
No, I don't think that means that we invented everything. I think it's that arrangement of foods together in a dish is what we invented.
Right, so what are we going? So what ethnicity am I looking up? What ethnicity am I looking up next? We should ask Bookie. Bookie might have some insight.
Wait. Ethnicity? Are we talking about One Piece?
we're talking about food.
No, Bookie. What ethnicity has the weakest food?
The worst type.
Weakest?
Whoa.
Yeah, your least
Y'all know we're
favorite
still live,
type
right?
food source.
Yeah.
Who cares? We're not.
Okay, I would like to
Yeah,
be
Wesley, you might as well end it.
disclaimer that the fact that 21 and but I would say weakest thing for food, American white people.
See that? See,
So across the board, everybody's been saying the same thing. Pretty go.
I personally don't like Greek food. I think it's very bland. Can someone name me some Greek food? I don't think I've eaten.
Yeah. That yogurt stuff with the.
Yeah, but that's just yogurt. Like, does anyone have any like Greek? I've eaten Greek sweets. But are there Greek dishes?
It's similar to Italian, I think. It's like
No. It's not. It's not similar to Italian at all.
wait, hold up.
Boogie said that like she was scared. He's like,
Salads, Greek salads.
Greek food.
I will not let you like that.
Yeah, she's saying it's not as good, but
No. Okay, so I like savory food, and Greek is very savory.
All right, so
Greek is almost like very clean.
I looked up Chinese food. All right, here's a list of what they have, what they invented. Sushi.
Chinese people didn't invent sushi. What the hell?
Sushi.
Where was sushi invented?
You said no doubt the Japanese perfected it. But
The Japanese.
The sushi came from Chinese people first.
No.
Hey man, Japan surpassing China as usual.
Japan gives a lot of stuff too.
Chinese people also invented pasta.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, yo, Italians peeped it and made it mad lit. Yeah.
They also invented ketchup.
Remember, they have soba and stuff. Soba noodles. Those are still pasta. They're considered different.
Where you said Chinese people created what, ketchup?
Yeah.
Ketchup disgusting anyway. What the fuck?
Ketchup is lit.
Ketchup is every bad food.
Ketchup is disgusting.
Yo. Wait, guys. You know what's the greatest sauce of all time? My friend used to hype it up, and I never got it, but yo, the greatest sauce in the history of sauces is ranch.
I was gonna say ranch or barbecue.
That's right.
Ranch can go on anything, but ranch can go on. I put it on barbecue wings. I made a ranch quesadilla, bro. I drowned that motherfucker. I was slow that. It looked like I nutted in that motherfucker.
You remind me of you remember New York from I Love New York?
Oh my god.
Ranch is lit.
Did she like ranch on it?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah,
because when she did,
you know I need my ranch.
They had to make her food, right? And one dude was like, "Yo, you love ranch, right?" So he did like an ode to like a bunch of foods and put a whole bunch of ranch sauce around it. And she just like, "Oh my god, ranch!" You was fucking dipping that shit everywhere, yo. He loves ranch sauce. But listen, I remember that. I remember that episode. Ranch sauce is lit. Ranch sauce is lit. That's really.
I'm gonna look up African dishes now.
Oh my god, that is way too broad. That is very broad.
That's very broad.
What the fuck is all this shit? Akara?
I'm about to hear a bunch of ignorance right now.
Alioko?
I don't know what that
Amala?
is.
Ashida?
What that is?
I forget the
Baba Ganoush? Baba Ganoush?
They made Baba Ganoush.
I'm asleep.
Yo, this alright.
Banga soup? Bobotai? What is any of these?
I hear a lot of ignorance, kid.
Fufu? Gari?
Yo, stop. Yeah.
What?
Hey, leave fufu out of this, bro. Leave fufu out of this.
That goes with anything. What'd you say? I don't know what the hell that is.
Kachumbari?
I don't know what that is either.
Kebab?
It's kebab. You know what a kebab is, right?
Oh, kebab. Okay.
Nigga, he made it all friggin'. It's a kebab.
This nigga use a completely different pronunciation.
Kebab.
Yeah, I've never even tasted any of these.
I'm sure you haven't.
Of course you haven't.
Yeah, Americanized Africans are better.
Good night.
More ignorance.
You mean like
wait, what is security looking at? What did he say?
African foods.
African foods? Schlegfrican foods? Wakanda? Schlegfrican? Come on. Listen. All we know is that this food has bred muscles, strength,
black-eyed peas,
athleticism, and large legs. So look.
Black-eyed peas, coffee.
Exactly. That is fact.
Cola nuts.
If I kept eating African food, I'd be a 9 right now. So.
Watermelon. Watermelon is awesome.
Yeah. Cool.
Water goat?
Watermelons?
Watermelons are pretty good.
Watermelons.
What ethnicity am I looking up next?
Italians.
Italian? Dude, these guys are about to have a lot of DC, bro.
You think so?
Yo, it's gonna be a bunch of stuff with the same ingredients. Yo, what's you know what Italian food is, man? Freaking no. Italian food is freaking listen, it's black clover, it's demon's plant, it's it's golem heart, it's the same ingredients, man. Same ingredients every damn dish, bro. Like some are better than others, but it's the same damn ingredients. Naruto. Naruto is the spaghetti and meatballs for Italian people. You know what I'm saying?
Like I was trying to get the name, but now they're just talking
Yeah.
about they're talking about which like type of food, which ethnicity is the worst.
Tell her
Most
her
people said
people are the
Chinese food.
progenitors of trash food.
The
Tell her
worst.
that.
And then the other answer was
Yo, Lisi, as we speak, is eating wheat bread with ketchup, yo. Like,
macaroni and cheese.
yo, Lacey's like, Lacey's like, food is supposed to taste good. Wait, what?
Yeah.
I thought we was eating for sustenance, yo. Like,
He's like, yo, where the goldfish next? Can I put
They're
goldfish
good.
next?
They're good types of.
there are good types of.
Really, you're
Now I'm
actually
telling you.
The kitchen is not a safe
I thought I was petting that cat. So maybe your allergy.
Lacey treats herself to a grain of salt on her microwave fries, yo. Like when she feels good about herself.
Yeah.
That shit.
Every single Christmas,
You should get something in
Lisa
your
puts
eyes.
one sprinkle of adobo over me.
Water would do that.
I come.
Unless your eyes scratch.
Italians invented crostini,
Water will.
breadsticks.
They something in your eyes. They fill up with water.
Of course they did.
They found olives.
Water even irritated. It would be out by now.
Do you see anything about garlic bread on there?
Salami. Yeah, garlic bread.
Close your eyes and then it'll wash into it. Yeah. Then it should something's wrong with your eyes.
God, there's so much.
The smack that follows that goldfish.
There's all type of fucking pastas.
Really?
Yeah.
You might be getting things wrong. You already doing? Get away from me now. You got away from me.
What do you, Wesley? Good night. I know Anna's having. Lisa's trying to cook and Wesley's trying to stop her. But look,
He's like, I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry.
Yo.
I'm gonna show you white people make the best food, Wesley. Wait right here.
Yo, she went right in front of the stove and she went in front of the stove and Wesley had to stop her.
Yo, the fact that that house hasn't gotten burned down yet.
Your eye will be pink. Not at first. Yeah. And then it lasts like a week. You can't be around people if you have to. You can't if you have pink eye. It's contagious.
What?
This man's hilarious.
No. What?
Some dude said he wants to see
lasagna.
Lasagna.
Prosciutto.
I'm gonna find you.
Ribollita.
Prosciutto?
Yeah, that. Ribollita.
What's that?
Traditionally considered I don't even know, or a poor man's food. The ribollita was created by serving selected unfinished food, such as bread, vegetables, from their master before boiling them into items in water. Yes, it looked like a mystery stew.
Yeah. I think I've had it before. It's pretty good.
Saltima bocca, gelato, which is like a fucking ice cream type of thing. All these seem low tier compared to pasta.
A one man show?
Yeah, Italian really has this one Dempsey roll. Everything else is kind of.
Did they invent it?
That's all they needed, I guess.
I don't think they did.
Didn't they invent ravioli?
Ravioli's trash.
It was I.
Well, they invented lasagna.
I'm not gonna slander something else.
Pizza
This is a ravioli makes me sick.
It makes me puke. When I was a kid in like second grade, I had a teacher and I told her I don't like ravioli. I was like,
this is now, bro. You are able to tank bad
still
tasting
don't.
shit, as we can see.
No,
So now,
Continue your story. Continue your story.
I told her I don't like ravioli, and she was like, "No, ravioli's good." And she was like, "What do you mean you don't like it? You probably just won't give it a chance." And I was like, "No, I really don't like." She's like, "Have you ever eaten it?" I was like, "No, like the texture makes me kind of sick. The smell of it makes me sick. I don't want to eat it." And she was like,
you were speaking like this in the same grade?
"Yeah, I was."
The texture makes me sick. You know,
the texture it makes me queasy. I was like, it makes me nauseous. And then she was like, no, you just need to try it more. Eat the whole plate. And she sat there at lunch and made me eat all the fucking ravioli that we had. And then I threw it up right afterwards.
Anti-ravioli?
And I never ate ravioli since then.
This man eats ravioli and barfs. I'm sleeping.
Yeah. I told her I didn't like it. She was like, no, just try it more. I was like, no, man, no.
Chef Boyardee ravioli is trash.
Yeah.
Chef Boyardee, bro. Yo, but real talk, yo, as a kid, Chef Boyardee beefaroni was lit.
It was
but here's the thing. I tried eating those same canned foods that I used to be fed as a kid, like recently, and like, yo, how did anybody eat this filth? Like this is pure garbage. Like,
yo,
maybe they
changed out the can and nigga, you like.
Maybe they changed it up down the road because I remember they changed up like Cookie Crisps. They made Cookie Crisps more disgusting. Cookie Crisps used to be goat. Cookie Crisps used to be goat. I don't know what happened.
Bro, all these foods are like garbage now, bro. Like, what happened?
Your taste matured and you actually tasted some good cooking?
Also, the
I guess
the companies get bigger and bigger. They start to make products cheaper and cheaper.
Wesley, you're used to it though.
Not really.
Trash.
Not really.
Yo, Wesley eats bologna burgers,
you
yo.
told us a story about eating cats. Like, how can you say you're not?
Have I eaten cats? What is that?
Possibly.
What does that have to do with me?
Lee's like, we ran out of cooking oil, so I decided to fry our bologna in water.
Fry our bologna in water.
We don't even have bologna. We won't even eat that. Good night.
Listen, Wesley.
We don't even have bologna.
You want about
Listen,
Wesley,
we don't even eat like American cheese, like slices.
I don't even eat pork. You really think I'm gonna eat a cat? Like,
yeah, like, probably.
No, pork is wild.
Pork isn't good.
Pork is just clogged arteries and.
Yo, at least he's like, what's a skillet? Yeah, like what?
Skillet?
I don't know where this propaganda comes from.
Yo, man.
Hey, man.
This is slander.
It's very untrue.
Boiling? What?
Hey, man.
What propaganda?
You said they're gonna fry some bologna in water.
That is.
Shakir, what do you know about good food anyway? You don't even like fried chicken. I want to hear this from you. I don't want to hear this.
Wesley,
you don't like fried chicken.
Do you want to also know why? You also want to know why I know about food?
I didn't know.
Because my uncle,
I didn't ask that
right?
Yes.
My uncle spent 5 years around the world. Then he came back and he set up his own restaurant and he makes a bunch of different foods. So I've eaten different foods. So I know about food, nigga. Okay? You're a fucking waiter.
All you eat is
on some good ass. Yes,
I'm asleep.
Because I want to you want to insert trash in your mouth, nigga.
Garbage.
You want to insert trash in your mouth?
Yeah, like,
I don't.
Oh, you eat cats, nigga. Don't try to come in like that. Fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Hey, man, Kevin. Cats may be delicious. I'll never know.
Cats
are not delicious.
I'll never know.
Listen. If you've eaten Chinese food, then you've definitely eaten cats.
I don't eat Chinese food.
Yo, Young was like, when Young was like, Lisa couldn't even be in the same room as a Peruvian cup.
Good night.
Shakir. Yo, she just walks in the room and she's like, the air just feels spicy. Like, it just her eyes just start watering, bro. Like, it's just crazy.
Yo, man.
Oh my
Put
god.
Lisi in a room with hot sauce and see what happens.
Yeah. I kid you not, bro. Take one toothpick, right? Dip it half a centimeter into hot sauce, right? And then use that toothpick and poke any food that she's eating, bro. And just see what happens, man.
Nigga, that's poison. You trying to kill her, yo.
No, I'm just... Look, man.
No, we eat at that,
I don't know, but then again,
that Middle Eastern restaurant all the time.
Oh my god. She's like, this tastes so ethnic and flavorful. Like this.
It does, actually.
it's flavorful.
What's this? She's like, where's the chef at? What is this? What is this spice you have on here?
You know,
it's salt.
that maki
It's salt.
For like $10 you get 11 pieces, which is better than KFC, I think. KFC is like $15. Like, yeah, I mean Popeyes, yeah.
At least he goes to a restaurant and orders cereal.
Why's he trying to come here like me making a certain choice to eat a certain kind of food? Is it desperate? I eat Chinese food like once a month. Don't even hype it up like
only because your mother made you stop eating. You eat every day, Kevin. You think I forget? You eat it every day.
Every day, Wesley. You want to know what I eat every day? I only eat Chinese food on the weekends. So don't try to put that on me. What do you mean? And that was like once or twice a month.
Yeah,
like,
you
don't
eat
hype it up.
McDonald's
Don't hype it up.
food. That's all you eat.
McDonald's is good.
I haven't eaten McDonald's. I haven't eaten McDonald's in months either.
I'm with you, man. McDonald's is fire.
McDonald's burgers are awesome.
I will listen. McDonald's and Burger King
is better than what Lisi cooks.
It's very much.
I want to see Wesley debate that Lisi stops McDonald's. Like, come on, man. Like, let's be real here, bro.
I mean, McDonald's.
Listen.
McDonald's isn't food.
One. I
eat peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
I eat campus food. From it, and then on the weekends, maybe I might get Chinese food. But I always go to the store and I buy sweet tea at least every single weekend. So I go to the Chinese place and I get their Chinese sweet tea. So that's all I do, and that's a guarantee. But the Chinese food is not guaranteed. Sometimes I might go to Cane's. Sometimes I might go to IHOP. Sometimes I might just go eat out with my friends or something somewhere else. But I do not eat Chinese food as much as you say I do. So please calm that down.
Yo, Lisi top 2 videos on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Like,
no.
Chill, bro.
Yeah. Relax, bro.
Chill, bro. Chill.
Yeah. Hey, man.
Chill.
Look.
you keep copying in such a spice.
Oh my god.
This is hilarious. Oh my god, this is so funny.
Poor Lisi.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna have to invite her to this call.
She ain't going to call him.
After if she knows.
I should look. To be honest, I should be nicer to Lisi considering she has a Wolverine shirt. But look, man, life is just unfair like that. Life is not fair.
Yeah, she said she was gonna read the Chris Claremont one exit.
You're just gonna have a depressed girlfriend, but I'm not. You're gonna have a depressed girlfriend and a lot of uncomfortable questions during pillow talk sessions. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm dead serious. A lot of hypotheticals being asked to you that like you can't answer.
Right.
Babe, if I did this, would you have reacted like with Scott? Would you have slapped me?
Yeah,
yes, I would have slapped you.
Christmas is coming up though. You need to buy the Mexican Wolverine.
Yeah. hey, man. Hey, man. Listen. Did you guys didn't see the Pam I posted? Her brother has an issue from the Dark Phoenix saga still. Like how, bro? Like that is godly.
Oh,
yes.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's like in plastic. It's pretty dope.
Oh wow.
Yeah. He bought it for like $80.
Recently or like a long time ago?
Like years ago, and it's still in plastic.
lit. I was gonna say if he had it from like when it came out, it must be worth like $100.
No, the fun fact, you could a lot of issues of the Dark Phoenix Saga are on eBay in mint condition, not and under $100.
Why were you thinking about buying them?
To be honest, I respect this storyline so much that if I had money, I kid you not, I would buy every issue from this arc individually, the original condition, frame every one of them, and line them across my wall. So every issue of this arc is just lined up, framed inside an enclosed casing, lined up in my wall. Like that's how like a Hall of Fame hallway, bro. That is what like I'll walk by this every day. Just like this was the holy grail, bro. Like this is my
yeah. Yeah, that would be lit, but
bro. Like that's the thing. Like I don't have the money, so I guess the broke version of that would be print out the covers and thumbtack them on my wall. Yeah. Oh man.
The really broke versions, you Google all the images, draw them yourself.
Yo, the most savage line I've ever read from a content creator. You know who Jack Kirby is? He was Stan Lee's artist for all those early comics. This dude Jack Kirby, literally in an interview. Just quick sidebar. Stan Lee gets all the credit from back in the day, specifically because Jack Kirby wasn't a people person, and Stan's very charismatic and very people and media friendly. So like whenever like people interview like, oh, what's the deal with Marvel Comics? Why are you guys booming? Stan Lee's the guy like, yeah, well, we're making stories and blah blah blah, and then Jack's is quiet. But the most savage thing Jack ever said, they were asking about like this storyline. It was like the original was just big storyline of Marvel, the Galactus trilogy. It was from Fantastic Four in the 60s, right? And they asked Jack Kirby, what inspired you to make this whole little storyline? And he says, well, great fiction comes from being inspired by other great fiction. And what greater fiction is there than the Bible? I'm like, bro. This man said, what greater piece of fiction is there than the Bible?
Actually, Jack Kirby would have gotten smoked if it was in my presence.
Yo, this dude. Yo, this dude legit said, because he was saying that Galactus, the Silver Surfer. He said the Silver Surfer is like a fallen angel and all this stuff, and like Galactus is a god.
Jack Kirby was really religious.
Yeah, so
he's clearly not religious, nigga. What do you mean?
A couple years ago, there was this British like talk show host that was fucking moving plastic. Like he hunted him down like when he was like a recluse and stuff like that, and like brought him back into like the public eye, and like he went to his apartment and was like ringing his doorbell and like sending him all these letters and calling him until he agreed to do an interview with him. And it's like this documentary about how he found him and stuff like that, because like that guy's he's a famous like host in Europe, but he's like super duper into comics. Like he's like a hardcore comic fan, and he like loves Jack Kirby. So it was pretty interesting.
Jack, a lot of like comic people say that if he lived longer, it's like the current way we view stuff, like he would have gotten the credit that he deserved that he didn't get as he was alive and stuff. So it's pretty sad.
I mean, he's the real like creator.
You know what's funny, Wesley? I found a documentary, and I'll post it whenever you feel like watching it. It's from the '86, right? And it's 2020 news going into Marvel Studios because the comic boom is happening again. And they were just like, it was like, what's the deal with the Marvel Comics, right? And it's pretty interesting though, like because at that time his position was basically like head in chief, right? And it was one of those things where he's not directly writing anything, right? But obviously his name goes on like in the introductions of every book, like Stan Lee presents this and that, right? And here's the thing, I was thinking, it is what it is with that, like he put in the work and stuff, but I was thinking like he did absolutely nothing. But to be fair, this is the way it was working. Like in a documentary, it's very interesting. Like a lot of dudes are just in like the Marvel studio place in New York, right? And all these artists are working at the same time. And the editor Jim Shooter is literally going person to person, going, "Is this issue going to be done in time?" And they're like, "Yeah." And he's like, "All right, whatever," right? And he's the head editor. And it cuts to Stan Lee in his office with like this really old computer next to him, and he's just looking at the pencil / inks of a certain random issue. And this is what it looked like the extent of his job was. It showed Stan on the phone holding a panel that isn't colored, and he goes, on page 14, Thor is not wearing his helmet. But in page 13, he was, and there was no panel that indicated that he lost his helmet. So I think you should revise this and add a panel where he lost his helmet. All right. Talk to you later. And I'm like, good night. I'm like, is that it?
Basically just proofread and just looked at art. That's basically it.
It's so fun. It's so fun. And the coolest thing I didn't know is like Stanley apparently had a TV show in the early '90s called like Comic Book Greats. And what I will give him credit for though, he brought Chris Claremont on it in a 1990 episode, and he straight up told Claremont to his face, he was like, kid, I'm gonna be honest with you. You're a better writer than I ever was. And then Claremont was like, oh, please, you're too kind. He's like, no, seriously. He says, I have these ideas, right? But the way you realistically develop your concepts are just on a level like that the medium hasn't seen before you and has been seeing more of since. And then he's like, how do you follow up that great praise I just gave you? And Claremont's like, oh, I mean, I thank you, but honestly, the way I see it, storytelling is a narrative, and the way you work the visual medium, and he's just talking and talking. But yeah, man, Stan is actually like fairly humble, like. The way he was the way
they needed a man with clout. They needed a man with clout to
I mean,
they needed a man with clout to handle the series, and they did that.
There wasn't much of a choice.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Did you say Stanley was garbage?
No. He's not. No, that's not true. But the thing is like the thing about Stan is that like he put in all of his work and put in his time in the 60s to create all these franchises and get them off the ground. And then once they're off the ground and up and running, that was when he was like, all right, I have all these new seeds. You go run this stuff. I'm gonna go sit in the back and just kind of lurk and watch and count this money.
When's the last time? When's the last time a new franchise started up in Marvel or DC that wasn't a spinoff of an already existing franchise?
Who started it? Stanley's still alive.
I have nothing.
Wait, time out. Stan has no direct involvement with Marvel Comics anymore. I'm just saying, like in the '80s, like his role was just like I said, he was head dude in charge, and
can no one answer that?
A new franchise?
Shakir, they don't make new franchises.
Yeah, what they do is reinvigorate like old.
Really?
Which I don't really like, to be honest. But anyway, yeah, I don't really like that.
That's like the 1820 skins.
But I was gonna say, no, the funny thing about Stan is that when he was interviewing Claremont saying, Stan was like, tell the people at home how I run things, and Chris was just all like, well, basically, if Stan hires you as a writer, you basically have one job: you write the story, don't mess up, and please don't let the sales bomb. So he said, so Stan really hates if you call him repeatedly for things about your story, and he basically lets you write, gets out of your way, says, I'm not gonna get involved. Do your thing, and please don't call me regularly. And that tells me that this dude is just fapping in his office. Like this dude is just.
Yeah, like I read comics about that were clearly about Stanley, where like all the writers were in the '90s.
Oh yeah.
Like, he's looking over people's shoulder, and they're just like, they're like, oh, I have this idea, and he's like, oh man, this is really good. Put a blue hat and put my name on it. Like, so,
yeah, jokes like that. It's so funny.
The company, so
hey man, lit.
And people work for Marvel because they couldn't get jobs for DC. So like, it's Marvel or nothing. Or you're on the street. They'll sell mattresses.
I mean,
like
it depends what period. It depends what period. But because Marvel did like 3 times better than DC financially in the '80s. But it depends what period. But I was gonna say Stan's is funny, man. Like the funniest thing I saw was reading that John Byrne had a public beef with Jack Kirby in the late '80s, and I'm like, when I read it, I was like, good night, because freaking It was because Jack Kirby, when he left Marvel, he like tried to like he was immediately going in interviews like exposing Stan Lee and crapping on him and stuff, and exposing how Marvel is like corrupt and didn't give him his credit or his money and stuff. And then like John Byrne came out and was just like
a salty nigga.
So John Byrne came out and he was just like, look, man, you know, like any place you work, there's gonna be certain things that you're slighted in. But considering that this is the place where like you made your name and your money and stuff like that, it would be better for the industry as a whole to not crap on this and try to cut us down as we are peaking, because that's not gonna help the industry grow in itself, and you're not being a good company man. And then so after Byrne said that quote, Jack Kirby went out and did a comic where he drew John Byrne. And like he drew like the Grim Reaper playing with John Byrne's spine to suggest that he's spineless, and I'm like, good night. So then Byrne literally had a character in a Fantastic Four issue that was literally just like the concept was like a decrepit old artist who's broke and needs like a job, and like he's bitter and mad at the world, and like they just went back and forth like subliminally taking shots until Jack Kirby died.
Yo, nigga.
Yeah, that was wild, bro.
They took the beef to the paper, yo.
Yeah, they took the beef to the paper.
Yo, this is before niggas made this track. They said,
yeah,
yo.
I was just about to say, yo, that's the artist version of diss tracks. Just say, yo, give me a pen, yo. How about Jaws doing no spine, nigga?
Remember when people thought Oda and fucking
Hiro
had beef?
Yeah, they low-key were.
I've never heard
Oda was Shakira, I believe it, bro. They were low-key throwing subs, bro. They were low-key. That was hilarious, bro. Yo, 2013, yo, listen closely, right? These are all just too coincidental, man. So, Fairy Tail's in that tournament arc, the Grand Magic Game arc, and Fairy Tail's is a gymming of One Piece in general. And then, Oda's is like, hey, man, I'm gonna throw this Dressrosa tournament out here. I'm gonna give Luffy the name Lucy. Give him the name Lucy. And then the funniest one, there's more, but there's the most apparent indication of beef is in the Rebecca flashback. The very first one on chapter 722 is a panel of a kid bullying Rebecca, who gets completely milli-rocked by the soldier, and on the back of his shirt says Mashima-sen, short for sensei. And the dude in the Mashima-sen shirt was getting beaten by the bat of the toy soldier. And I remember when I read that, I was like, Mashima-sen? Yo, what is Oda yo, what?
No, listen. You want me to tell you why?
And Hero made the fucking the treasure hunters who don't ever steal treasure.
Oh yeah, the treasure. Yeah. I was like, yo, I'm reading this. I'm like, yo, wait, is Oda and Mashima really throwing subs at each other? What is happening?
I'd assume Oda would just be like, yo, like this shit is trash. Because remember when he heard about Love Live, like, yo, that shit trash. Yeah, Oda was like, yo, that shit trash. Yeah.
Wait, what series?
Love Live. When they asked him about that, he was like, "Yo, that's some trash ass shit."
I don't even. I don't even know what that is.
It's a very popular anime idol series in Japan.
Good night.
The fucking treasure hunters who don't steal treasure. What the fuck is that shit?
Oh wait, last interesting Marvel story is something that would not happen today. I kid you not, Wesley. I kid you not. Right? With 2 issues left to go in the Dark Phoenix saga, apparently, the editor didn't like the ending because he said this is way too drastic, way too shocking. This would traumatize readers, and we've never done anything like this in comics. And then Byrne was like, well, too bad. This is how it's supposed to end. And apparently, the editor, Jim Shooter's like, I can't allow this. You're gonna change that ending, and we're gonna have a more, you friendly, blah, 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 blah. And apparently, Claremont went to John Byrne, the artist, and the entire other editorial team, and got them on his side, and they overruled the editor 7-1 and got the editor fired off X-Men.
No.
They literally banned it up and were like, yo, either you quit, they literally was like, yo, you're going to quit because we're not changing anything to the saga. And Jim Shooter eventually had to leave X-Men. And then when I was reading this, and like, no, and apparently Stanley like came in furious and was like, no, Jim, you're getting back on the thing. You're the editor for all the other comics. You can't like just not be the editor for X-Men. And he basically told Jim Shooter like, what's the deal? And then Jim was like, oh, they're trying to do this and that and that. And Lee was like, so what? It's the 80s. Like, let them. And he's like, okay. And he basically said, "Look, you're staying on the comic as the editor, but they're not changing it. Just let them do whatever ending they want to do. Let them write. They made this the #1 selling comic in our freaking company. Let them do what they're doing. Like, don't you try to change the thing."
This is the man who should be running the WWE, man.
Yo,
Give the fans what they want.
It's funny too because that dude Jim Shooter was in the 2020. He was in the 2020 interview, right, in the 86 video, and he literally says,
2020.
Yeah, and he was like, "My job is to preserve our financial properties the way they are remembered. I will not allow any writer to get any big head or ego and try to manipulate and change them to the benefit of their story in a way that hurts our property." And then the interview was like, listen, the interview was like, explains that to, they said, explain that to a non-comic reader. He said, basically, it says, Spider-Man will always be Peter Parker, the young man who was bitten by a spider. If a writer decided to take liberties with that, that is fine. Doing something interesting with that, that is fine. But if you then decide Peter Parker is now a masochistic person who snapped and became a psychopath murderer, I cannot allow it. And he was talking like things like that, like drastic things to the property. Yeah. So then then the interview was like, so there was apparently a dispute with you 3 years ago with X-Men writer Chris Claremont, and he's like, yes, what they were trying to do with the story, never done before, and he says, because I did not know how it would bear for us financially or in terms of our stocks and things like that, I couldn't have him kill off certain characters. I couldn't have him do this or that. I couldn't have characters commit suicide or genocide, and I wouldn't stand for it. And they overruled me, and Stan Lee got me back on the comic, but I decided, Stan decided, no. Hey, listen, the issue came out, and it became like the highest praised comic for like until Watchmen. So the final issue of the Dark Phoenix saga. So there you go. Like this dude is a goon, bro. Like,
no, it makes sense.
This dude, one of the most freaking handsy. Who
drew it? Alan Moore drew and read it, right?
No, he wrote it.
No, he wrote it. Like yeah, because the Dark Phoenix saga, like it's a Greek tragedy, like they say. So you know,
yeah, it makes sense because you can't just let the writers do whatever they want. Then people want to respect your crowd. Like they don't respect it.
That is. I was looking at I read the story before I looked at the documentary, and the minute I saw his visuals, I'm like, this dude seems like a freaking cunt. Like this dude seems like just like a bro. Like,
Stanley hired him for a reason. It was the right choice to not listen.
Yeah, it's funny because in the documentary, it seems like Stan's like just the easygoing guy, and Jim Shooter's like the freaking authoritarian dude. And apparently, John Byrne, when he left Marvel, he said that Claremont always regularly called Jim Shooter Hitler. So I'm like, bro, because apparently like any little thing, like for example, Shooter would walk up to Claremont and be like, make sure like when Wolverine does quote unquote kill, it's not on panel. And Claremont's like, yo, calm down, like relax. And he's like, oh no, we have to abide by the standards and practices and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I mean, it is what it is.
He probably knows the law.
If I had a comic company, I would let niggas go wild.
Yeah, like, you would immediately go bankrupt. That's not the way you would.
You know, the funny thing. When I was reading the early run, right? There's a lot of stuff that like you just have to imply yourself. I mean, figure out from implication. And I found out Claremont was saying like when Shooter was around, he would say like no explicit mention of drug use or sex, and you can allude to it, but don't like explicitly just straight up say it. So like for an early run, like eventually, like for example, when Storm goes into a dope house, a heroin place, and these dudes are shooting up, he has to call it through a narration. The Storm stumbles into a shooting gallery, and I'm like, okay, this is a dope house. I can literally see it in the panel, and then and stuff like that. Like there's a narration where it says, so then Scott and Jean begin to kiss and touch and proceed to even more. And I'm like, good night, bro. Like I'm like, just say they're having sex. Like it's funny, but I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yo, like, have you guys heard of the
wait, Tom.
White Knight joint?
Wait, what were you gonna say, Wesley?
I said to a certain extent, some writing it just works better with like
when it's subtle and
it's in those guidelines, yeah, because it forces the writers to like be more subtle. Then she's like, yeah, they went into the room and then they had sex. Like
No, yeah, that's so funny. Like in interviews, Claremont says like that wasn't. He said that honestly wasn't an issue for him. He's like, honestly, no, I didn't have an issue with that. My only issue was with Jim Shooter after I planned out a storyline that took 4 years to come into fruition, and now because remember comics are monthly, so it's one issue a month. So he said it took me 4 years. I'm at the climax, and this man tells me, no, you can't do that to Gene. You can't do that to Scott. You can't do that to Xavier. And he's just like he's like, God damn it. Like,
I thought it came out
don't choke on.
Yeah, once a writer.
That was when Lee came in.
Yeah, once they committed that much to a story, you kind of have to let them.
But yeah,
end it the way they want to end it.
Y'all gotta check out the the Batman White Knight joint, because that's the comic storyline where everything is inverted and Batman is actually the crazy maniac and he's pretty much the Joker and the Joker is actually the hero.
Isn't that
it has like 2 issues?
Yeah,
it's new. It just came out like last month.
I figured they would eventually do something like that. Like
I want to see
that's
what
cool.
happens. I want to see
that sounds pretty interesting. Is that the these Rebirth comics, right?
No, it's just a new. It's a new. No, it's just a. It's a.
Why did Wesley laugh at that? Like, did that sound like I'm looking down on it or something like it?
These Rebirth things. Little.
Yeah, no, like what? Is that one of these newfangled?
These things with no substance that the kids like.
No, that's you low-key paraphrase what Claremont said about modern comics. Not what he said was they asked him like the college kids were like, what would you say to a guy who's aspiring to make comic books and stuff? And he says, do you like superhero comics or do you want to make graphic novels? And they're like, why? And he says, because there's a huge difference. And honestly, I don't know why any young individual today would want to join Marvel or DC Comics. You would literally be. He said you would literally be drawing. He said you'd be at the mercy of the editors way more than I was, and you'd literally just be making companion books to the movies that are being produced for mass consumption. You are not making any new stories or any new content. And he said I don't see how creatively that would be any fun for anybody or any interesting. It is plus these characters have existed for decades upon decades. Just go out there, discover, create your own story, craft it, get yourself published by an independent publisher or another company, and make your own graphic novel, or make a novel in general, or hell, become an animator. But please, I am imploring and begging any youth who is a creative and a creator, as much as you have grown up and loved these heroes, the comic industry, specifically the superhero comic industry, is not in a flourishing state creatively, where an individual like that will prosper. He said, so listen, I don't recommend going to Marvel. I don't recommend going to DC. And then they're saying like, is that why you didn't want to write anything after X-Men? And he says, X-Men, I was in a lucky position where I was handed a blank slate comic. And he says, that is literally impossible. That doesn't happen anymore. That like, and they're like, create a team, a bunch of new characters, because like when you write a superhero comic, you're writing a pre-existing character. And he's saying like, what can I do to change Reed Richards? He's a 45-year-old man with 7 different backstories and years and years and decades of comics. But what can I do to Peter Parker? What can I do to this? I can play around with different dynamics, but that gets tried and old and tiresome after a year. So of course, when I was no, people pointing out stuff like they're like, certain writers.
Wow, this man sounds goat and factual.
And they're saying like, they're like, Chris, you created
why
like,
the fuck are we still alive?
This dude said like, Chris, it seems like you're not a big fan of superhero comics despite your writing on X-Men. He's like, no, that's not what I'm saying. All I am saying is
differently. But I'm saying that they have done. If you're like me, recent stuff right now. Let's say 40% of it, and I'll just say it like that. It's not to the point where it's like, oh, you're making mass production of, and you're getting a small, tiny portion of it being anything different or anything uninteresting. No, there's a bunch of interesting stuff about it. You gotta. I just think he's only seen a couple of things and he's making a judgment based off that.
Nah.
No. The thing is though, like they asked him, when did you decide? They asked him when did you decide you were done with Marvel, right? Like they said, like, did you leave or did you think X-Men was over? And he was like, here's the thing. He says, 2 years after the Dark Phoenix saga ended, I began my initial frustrations with the Marvel because the series got so popular that they began to come to me and say, Chris, write this spinoff, write that spinoff. And he said like one of the things he hates about comics is how Marvel tries to be so interconnected where it'll be like a character appears in a different comic and stuff, and so you have to put readers in a position where they got to read and buy different issues and stuff, and that's what Marvel does for sales. Listen, he goes, that's what Marvel does for sales, but one of the things he liked about X-Men is that because it's a new story and it's his own little thing, and initially it was under the radar, it's just its own thing. And he said, like, them trying to bring in spin-offs, he said he knows Marvel's going to eventually be like, oh, let's do a crossover with the New Mutants and do this and that. And Chris said, New Mutants because Xavier's school, being a school, was starting to get neglected, so I did that. But he says, this is when I thought it was the last straw. When in 1987, they came to me and said, revive Jean, and he literally told them, fuck off. And he was saying that like Marvel like increasingly started to just force him to do certain things for sales purposes. And he said, look, I'm gonna tell the arcs that I have in my head right now, and when I'm done with that, like I'm out. Like I'm not doing this. So you know that's what he did. He just. Yeah, man. He stayed another 4 or 5 years, and then he dipped and went to write like actual books. He wrote novels.
Yeah. Because when you look at Marvel like right now, because
could you imagine writing the Dark Phoenix saga and then like a company tells you 4 years later, yo, bring Jean back to life? Why? Because she's popular.
Marvel is in a bad place right now in terms of
right now.
With these CEO jokes and
damn, bro, if only they could bring that quality to them.
Listen, lots of things,
Claremont did say that Daredevil is a good Marvel series.
Hello, man.
Wow, man, like DC Rebirth, this shit is lit, my guy.
Word?
This shit is lit. I shit you not.
He praised New 52 Batman in his podcast, so that was interesting.
That's all right.
He said because they asked him if he enjoyed any new modern superhero comics, and he said, is New 52 Batman new? And they're like, it ended a few years ago, and he said that was adequate. That was pretty good. You know,
that's what I was thinking.
Listen, that means it's lit. That means it's lit. Look, if Chris Claremont says it's lit, it's lit, bro.
What he did, he was talking about Game of Thrones too, and he said, what are they doing with this new season? I was like, I don't watch Game of Thrones, so I don't know. He's like, what are they doing? And then they're just having.
Yes.
I just don't like.
He was talking to the guy on the podcast, and like this other girl who was in the podcast was like, I think it's great, and they started debating about stuff, and he said, here's the thing though, and he starts talking about like he's like narratively deconstructing why certain things they're doing are just flat out wrong and like inconsistent with characters or something.
Yeah.
And then they started like he started rambling on that, and then they're like, is there anything on your mind right now, Chris? And he's like, anything on my mind? He says, let's talk about Donald Trump for 1 second. And I was like, oh boy, this is gonna be very interesting. And then he was just like, it didn't go where I thought he would, but he just got into like a long-winded political discussion and then a morality discussion. And then they try to tie it back to comics, and they're like, did you ever? They said you always like to do these kind of moral like issues in X-Men and stuff, right? And he said, yeah, but you know that blowhard Jim Shooter always told me that readers don't want a lecture in morality. And he said so you know it is what it is.
What's this conversation about?
What's up?
You would never hear this shit like these days, bro. This shit is like basically just like PR.
He's handing my money for these little kids.
Like.
Wesley.
Did Shay just join?
Yeah, she was lurking earlier when we were talking with Bookie and stuff.
Wait,
one last question before I hop off. You know how like God Loves Man Kills is Claremont's like ending of the story, right?
Yeah.
Does this bother you to know that it's not like a final gigantic fight? You know what it's about?
What?
It's a court case. That's the ending. That's Claremont's ending of X-Men. It's a court case.
Court case. That's like the ending
It's
of Hunter x Hunter 2011.
It's literally this one politician that's been built up since Days of Future Past. Senator Kelly. If anybody watched the movie, you know who Senator Kelly is. It's literally Senator Kelly and the people versus Kurt Wagner, aka Nightcrawler, and Magneto like befriends and like adopts as a black mutant, and it's just about a court case, and that's the ending of X-Men.
I've seen
The funniest thing is the funniest thing is that like a lot of reviewers say like it's an incredible story, but like comic casuals are like, what the hell? Like there was no big final blow off fight. There's no this and that. Blah, blah, blah. We have unanswered questions to Magneto and this and that. And it's so funny because when Claremont like responds to critics of God as Man Kills, he goes he sounds like me when I get kind of pretentious. He's like, if you ask yourself, why is there no final fight? And what is Magneto going to do? Are you really reading the same story that I am writing? And he's like, do you really understand like he's talking in that way, but
but why are you so dramatic with the voice shit?
That's like yo, I kid you not. He sounds exactly like my art of satire professor. Well, yo, I posted him in a yo, he literally sounds like that. He's like, Catherine Bride was a mutant that I created because we needed a child on the cast. Children need to make mistakes for the story, for the narrative. Just writing adults is not that interesting, and he's like going on like a long ramble and stuff like that.
This guy is completely factual.
Yo, that got me so mad. I tagged you, Shakir, because I was like, he sounded like you and Andre when you're like, oh, shonen MCs need to be young. He says the great thing about stories is letting people make mistakes in front of readers, letting them grow, letting them change, letting them progress. He said, if Scott Summers has become a veteran and a married man and an adult, what is there left to do besides graduate him to the next phase of life? Let the children have fun.
How many black men do we have in this call right now? I
feel
we
have
4 or 5.
Come on, bro.
We have
every guy in here is black.
What, Kevin? We don't have white friends.
Only one real one.
First of all, I'm the only
one.
Now,
at this point, Shakir's a light skinned nigga, so he's not allowed to vote.
What do you mean you don't have white friends?
Oh my god.
Somebody sounds salty. Nobody cares about you. Shut up.
Listen. Kitty Pride needs to just be quiet, man.
Kitty Pride. All the other 5 black men.
Because of my skin color, nigga.
Shakir, you're not a dark skinned nigga, so you're not allowed in this coalition. Now.
What? Oh, Tyrese! Oh no!
Now at this point, I vote.
Yo,
I vote to bring Tyrese.
Negro council.
Yo, the 5 Negro summit, yo.
And Pippen, and we need to trade them to Mexico.
Yeah, Scotty's definitely.
All of them
my god!
Out of this country.
What's up with Kevin and Mexicans?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a little weird, but look, Scotty, look, no man should ever get cheated on and then apologize for being mad that his girl cheated on him. That is just irreprehensible.
He's getting chipped
off. Scotty has to go. Tyrese isn't. I'm not gonna trade him. I'm going to put him on the bench for the
he's not bad because do you know what he did? Do you know why his whole case is stupid? Because he actually abused his daughter. He physically abused her. That's why she got taken away. Listen,
do we have confirmation? Do we have confirmation?
We have confirmation.
Yo,
we trained that nigga.
Yo, Andre, I don't appreciate your poll today, but anyway, yeah. Look, man.
I mean,
that was a funny poll.
I had to be hard.
I did not appreciate it.
I had to check.
That has nothing to do with anybody in this call.
I had to check someone in real life today. Motherfuckers try to question me about loyalty. I tell people like, you can never question my loyalty. Like,
my loyalties.
I was like, first of all,
I don't know, Andre, you be threatening people sometimes, bro.
I was like, no, they did. I was like, yo, you can never question my fucking loyalty. I had to like,
yeah,
talk to people like that.
Yo, that's the voice That's the voice Andre used. When he got mad at Basu.
No, that's not the fucking voice he used.
I'll beat
Basu,
you
No.
the fuck
I don't know
up.
who you think
Yeah,
you're talking.
yeah.
I'll beat your ass.
No. He's like,
I'll beat you the fuck up.
yo,
He said, I'll beat you the fuck
he
up.
straight up said, nah, cause I'll beat you the fuck up. Man. I was like, yo, Andre angry, yo. Like, damn.
You scared the shit out of Boston, bro.
Yeah, check some people today.
Why you do that, bro?
Listen, man. You see, he never comes at me like that. He don't come at me no more.
Yeah.
We don't take that abuse.
Yo, he had that nigga shit, bro. He started going crazy. He started pulling out his Zonpak, come on camera and shit.
Who did that?
Basu. He did it during the argument.
Yeah. Boss is a funny nigga. But like I said, I'm trading them to Mexico. It's been finalized, and we're gonna get rid of all the Mexican women in this country, and then we have a better life. But
I mean, my thing with Tyrese is just like, even if it's like not true that he didn't abuse his daughter, it's just
he did.
Like Instagram.
Why'd you record yourself?
Yeah, exactly. That's my thing.
Yeah, that's just no. The recording was just cokehead behavior. But look,
he was on coke.
This man was on. He was on something. Man. He was on one.
I just want my baby.
I just want my baby.
This nigga was like snapping about like The Rock earlier and shit, and then now all of a sudden like, he's going off about it.
Yeah, this nigga fiending for money, bro.
My thing is, I always think something wrong with him.
What's that?
Tell me. I got a question. You gotta pay $13K a month, but then you say if Rock is gonna be on the series, I'm leaving. Time out. Rock is never gonna leave as long as this thing is making money because he's a Rock. So your ass is gone. And do you not want that $1 million check every year or so, listen. To pay you little?
Do you know the funny thing about that whole post? Did you see the picture he put up on there? That was just funny.
Listen,
that picture was just funny as shit.
What you understand is about Tyrese. When's the last time he's been the star of the movie?
Like the second movie, Tokyo Drift. Like, I think.
You know what's funnier to me? The fact that this dude is all in his feelings right now, and anytime Rock speaks on it, he's just like, "Yo, your album is trash. like your album is garbage." That's just like, yo, man, like how you gonna really rock this nigga like that? Like.
When he said Rock had a candy ass, I was like, yeah, he tripping. We
talking like, yo,
candy ass.
Bro, the Rock would body him like IRL or in a war of words, like
words, yeah, Rock would body and shit.
I'm a little insulted that I'm not allowed in this conversation.
You're a light skinned nigga, you're not allowed. Listen.
The Rock is a light skinned nigga, bro. It sounds like you dark skinned niggas are just hating.
What is
Hey man, look.
Rock isn't a part of the crew. He's the guy that roasted the shit out of Tyrese bitch ass, and that's what it is.
Yo, now I'm more disappointed in Scottie Pippen.
Pippen is. Oh my god!
How you went out there? You got yourself your young exotic model wife. She cheats on you. You're mad about it, as you should be. This is the same
nigga that claimed to have like Millie Rock 1,000 women or some shit back in '96, whatever the number.
Probably did.
And he was sipping. How do you? Yeah. Well, then he's like 6'9". What?
Yo, man, Scott. Look, man. This people said he probably apologized because he's low-key done some grimy stuff on the low too.
Yeah, he probably did.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but it's just like,
no.
Come on, Scott.
Listen
Scott out here making brothers look bad.
This is what happened. No. This is what happened. What happened was that after she cheated with Future, he bought her a ring, and she was like, "Nah, I'm gonna keep getting my cheeks clapped by Future." Then he was like, "Okay." Then he apologized. Then she's like, "All right, I'm gonna get back with you." And then she also got the $4 million ring. So
listen, Future just be hitting these hoes. That's why.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, Black China tattoo his name on it.
Oh no.
He had who?
Black China, she tattooed.
Oh, Black China? I remember that.
Yeah.
I don't think he's trash. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, The thing is, like, you don't want to put your dick in that because it's dangerous. That's like toxic waste.
I made friends cry today.
Wait, what?
I made someone cry today.
In what way?
Cause I'm chilling with like 3
Wait,
friends.
time out before you continue. Wesley, are you still there?
Yes.
Okay, I was gonna say because I can still hear the freaking the strong ass mouse. So I know like he's not gone. I continue, Andre.
So I think I told y'all a couple weeks ago that I was trying to talk to this girl that we're all friends, but I'm friends with a bunch of these girls. I dated one, but I'm trying to date this other one. I'm trying to smash this other one. I feel like I told y'all that. Yeah. But anyway, so I slid in that joint. I touched, yo, when you gonna let me take you out? Yada yada yada, and shit. And she went and told the John I talked to, right? And the John, she called me up like, don't you be doing this? I was like, and this was a couple of days. I was like, yo, don't call me a question about who I want to talk to or not. Like, you ain't got that privilege no more.
Mm-hmm.
So we all hanging out, right? And they brought that shit up. And like, I'm laughing at it first, but then they said like, yeah, Dre, you ain't loyal. And the way she said it, I was like, you don't want to talk about loyalty. And she's like, Dre, what you not loyal to? I was like, what you trying to say? I'm not loyal? I was like, yeah, I'm saying you ain't fucking loyal. I was like, don't you ever question me about loyalty, because let's talk about the shit you did when we was together. Like, and like,
oh no.
So I was like, yeah, so we used to together for like, let me just say this. I really liked her in high school. But she had like that whole, she attracted the bad dudes type of thing.
Typical Philly chick.
Yeah. So after that, we ain't talked for like 5 years. Finally dated her. We was together for like 6 months. And I was getting ready to ask her to move in with me.
Oh no.
Oh no.
And then all of a sudden, like, she didn't even give me like a breakup text message or a breakup phone call conversation. It was just like communication completely stopped. And that shit made me look like a sucker. But me, I don't really care.
I mean, technically, you're not a sucker because like, it's not like you simped or nothing. It's just you just didn't. You weren't told certain things.
And me, I'm just like, all right, it's whatever. I don't really care. It doesn't affect my health or my life. So I got over it. So I brought up the shit.
Talk to that girl.
So I brought up the shit. Tonight. I was like, yeah, like, you trying to question me about loyalty, but you broke up with me. Then like, I seen you like 5 months later, because you work around my sister's crib, and we had a conversation, and you told me like you was pregnant within those like 6 within those months of us breaking up. So I was like, so obviously you was talking to a nigga when I was talking to you. So I started hitting her with that. I was like, right?
No.
Hit her with that shit. Then I was like,
yo, why are we still live?
We're still live?
Oh, are we?
Oh my God, Wesley, what are you? Oh my God.